left. Actually got the ball. Good afternoon, my Tottenham fans right across the world, and welcome back to the Irish Hotspur for Match Day Live as Tottenham get their 24-25 campaign underway tonight as we take on Leicester. We set the foxtrot and hopefully take home all 3 points. And as you can see, excitement is in the air. Dreams, the possibilities, it's all back again, baby, and I cannot wait to get going. As you can see, peak excitement, and hopefully you all share the same excitement as me. We will be joined by Jack and Soren. They're just running a little bit behind to just getting back, and they will be jumping on with us. Dermot, how are you keeping, sir?
I am excited, nervous, feel like Christmas Eve. I feel like I'm waiting to open my presents on Christmas Day morning. And what am I going to find? The quad. That's what I'm going to find. 4 trophies sitting under my tree and taking us to glory. Eating some fox pie as well with a bit of gravy, mashed potato and a bit of veg. What more do you want on a Monday night? Spurs are back. This is what we've missed all summer. The mighty Tottenham are back. Woohoo!
Nah, I'm absolutely buzzing to be back. Of course, the first game of the campaign. Anything is possible right now. Very interested to see how we get on. See some of the new signings. Dominic Solanke, will have a conversation around him. Richarlison, Bissouma as well. His suspension. Who comes in for him tonight? And plenty more to talk about. Even a bit about Ange Postecoglou and what are Tottenham's expectations this season. So guys, make sure you give us your thoughts in the comments as we go along with all the talking points. Feel free to get involved as much as you can. But look, let's welcome in some people, and then we're going to crack on and talk about today's game. But as you can see, excitement is in the air. We've got Gamer 16, always grateful to the mighty Leicester for taking both Winks and Skippy, especially for 25 million. I mean, look, I think we pulled the pants down on the price, but I do send Skip on with the utmost respect. He was a good guy, gave it his all when he was around here. He was just found out a bit technically as we started bringing in more technical-based midfielders. Let's see how he gets on at Leicester, but thank you very much, Leicester, taking our deadwood. I absolutely appreciate that. We also got Danny Darko. Spurs can't wait for this. Hurry up. Come on, you Spurs. Big up, Danny Darko. Great to see you. Got Shawnee Maddox says, game day 5-0 incoming. Spurs are back, baby. That we are, and we are all buzzing. Gabrielle wants his big up, IrishHotspur and Jacko. Let's kick off the season with loads of goals. Look, it would be nice to get a few goals tonight. I will say, though, Steve Cooper is a lot more of a pragmatic manager. If you take your mind back to when we played Nottingham Forest last season, the first game, I think it was down at their place, actually. They just compact the area. They compact all the space around the box. They do not give you an awful lot. Tonight, we will have to put crosses in the box from different angles. The good thing is, we've got big Dom Solanke to be able to aim for tonight. So hopefully we find it a bit easier maybe to break down this Steve Cooper team. Gabrielle won. Great to see you though, sir. We also have Effing Hell says 3-0 Spurs. Let's Evan have it. Come on, you Spurs. Big up, Effing Hell. Good to see you. Gaza 1991. I'm going 4-0 Spurs. Solanke to score 2. A lot of people expecting Solanke to find a brace tonight. Shem Tan says, hey, Jack and Dave, hope you're both well. Looking forward to tonight. Hopefully, Ange has done some things to the system to help keep a clean sheet. Would be nice to. Well, look, we're going to have conversations around, should Ange make these adaptations? Should he not? So, we'll definitely get onto that. We've got Iceman. Good evening, fellas, and everyone in the chat. Come on, you Spurs. 4-0. Big Dom with a brace. Kulu and Sonny. Great to see you, Iceman. Killian Kenny. Big up the Irish Hotspur on behalf of Uncle. Come on, you Spurs. Never effing stop. 4-0 in Ange we trust. We've got Daniel Borden says, big up, guys. Great to see you, Daniel. Hopefully you're keeping well. Del Support 14. Great to see you back around, sir. Smash that like button, guys. Come on, you Spurs. We also have Jack God 1000. I'm going 4-2 Spurs. Great to see you, Jack God. Hopefully you're keeping well. Joseph says, yes, Dave and Jack, I'm indifferent about the transfer window, but can never not be excited to see Spurs play for the start of the new season. Big up to both of you every time. Come on, you Spurs. Look, I'm a bit indifferent about the window as well. I think we've done some really good things in terms of all the outgoings. When you look at all the players we've brought in, they're all technical. We shouldn't see a drop-off in style of play if we incur injury suspensions or want to make rotations. However, have the signings been good enough to be able to elevate us from 5th into a title race, which is Ange Postecoglou's words. He said he wants this. He gave the time frame of 3 windows. He said all last season he wants a title race this season. I'm not quite sure we have done. However, there's still time, Joseph, but it's the start of the season. I'm absolutely pumped. I can't wait to see. Football is a magical game. Sometimes even though I like to think sometimes I live in reality. Sometimes the impossible things you don't see can come and happen to you, and hopefully we can do something magical this season. Big up, Joseph. Great to see you. Terry Wright, big up, gents. Come on, you Spurs. Tequila, great to see you. Big up, panel. We also have Darren Johnson. Good afternoon, Dave and Jack. 4-0. Come on, you Spurs. Great to see you, Darren. Hopefully you're keeping well. Wembley won. Big up, boys. Knights of Terror and Torture are back. Hopefully not. Hopefully more joy this season, I would hope. Wembley won, but you never know. You never know. The Fresher says, good afternoon, Dave, Jack, and chat. Great to see you. The Fresher Mark says, Coys, good to see you, Mark. Hopefully you're keeping well, my man. We also have Foggy Foam in the house. Big up, everyone. I'm here counting down the hours to kick off. Come on, you Spurs. I've been counting them down since 9 o'clock this morning, Foggy Foam. You know, I was joking with the missus. I was like, I'm that excited. I'll probably be worn out by kickoff, to be brutally honest with you. But that's the first day, isn't it? It's what it's all about. It's Tom's K says 3-0 Solanke to score. I mean, we'd all love a Solanke goal tonight. Hotspur J, big up, lads. Can't wait for the game tonight. Solanke brace. Come on, you Spurs. Big up, Hotspur J. Great to see you. PH family, big up, lads. Looking forward to the show. Good to see you in the house, my man. We also have Finn Rickwood. Big up, David and Jack. Come on, you Spurs. We've got CF, new season, boys and girls. I'm so stoked. I called off work. Let's go. Come on, you Spurs. I wonder how many Spurs fans have done the same tonight, to be brutally honest with you, CF. When they seen the fixture release, did they put in for the Monday off, or have they pulled a sickie tonight? You know, I don't blame them if they have, but we're all super excited. Great to see you take the day off work. DJ AK, big up, guys from sunny Mallorca out there spinning the decks, you know, keeping all the holiday makers happy. Great to see you in the house. Faz Radfire 3-1 Spurs, big up, lads. My favorite channel watching on TV. Can feel a big win for us with Madison being the main man against his old club. Come on, you Spurs. I did put out my predicted lineup. A lot of people underneath in the comments, they don't want to see Madison tonight. They feel like he should be dropped. We will have that conversation for sure, Faz Radfire. But great to see you. Not going to the game tonight, no? Usually you go. Big up, Jason Bell. Great to see you. Big up, everyone. Come on, you Spurs. Iceman member for 12 months, a whole year. Really appreciate that, lad. He says, here we go. New season, new milestone. Love the work you fellas do here. It's looking like it's going to be a great season and hopefully a trophy. I mean, Iceman, that's the name of the game, right? A trophy. If you can't get a trophy, for me, the next best thing is improvement. So at least if we fail on that aspect, at least show signs of improvement this season. But great to see you with us, Iceman. Hopefully we can enjoy another year together. And hopefully this year is a lot more less tumultuous than the year gone by, Iceman. Great to see you, sir. And hopefully your son is still kicking on out there in America with his football. Just crack on. We'll take a couple more comments and then we'll also find out how Jacko is. Georgie Hills says, big up, lads. Hope you're keeping well. Feels like Christmas morning in August. Looking forward for some more fox hunting this season. Come on, you Spurs. It does feel like Christmas today, to be brutally honest with you. I definitely agree with that. We also have P.S. Barrow. Come on, you Spurs. All 4-1 Dom with a hat-trick. A lot of people expecting big Dom Solanke to step up tonight. We also have Rob Ragnarsson. Let's go. Come on, you Spurs. Great to see you. We also have True Patch. Come on, you Spurs. We've also got Lee Moody, Giant Dermot in the house. He loves a bit of Dermo. Goku Snake 77. Great to see you in the building. We also have Jimmy Hotspur. Big up, guys. Good morning. Great to see you. We've got Paul checking in from his cruise out in Norway. Good afternoon, Dave and Dermo. Great to be back for the season. Come on, you Spurs. Let's start with a convincing victory. I think many people are expecting that tonight. Leicester do have only Tom Cannon as their striker option, and he doesn't even get into the Ireland team. So, I mean, that'll tell you everything there. Although we are trying to lure him over, that's what I will say. Derek Hutchinson, big up Dave, and the one and only Dermatron, Jack and Soren. Soren will be with us. He's just putting the tractor into the garage, and he'll be joining us. Spurs, Solanke, Brace, and Son. Come on, you Spurs. Wayne O'Bonner, congrats on the 1901 subs, Darmo. I'd say that calls for a stream video on the 1901 FA Cup final. Don't get him started. Don't give him any idea.
It was. Philip was there that day. Philip sent me his match report, his pre-match report from that final. I'm just waiting for it to come through.
Oh, I love that. Absolutely love that. Where am I? I've lost. No, I haven't lost where I am. But big up, Wayne. Oh, great to see you. Joseph as well. Big up, Dave. Great. Or Dermot. Good to see you, Joseph. We've got Darius as well in the house. Big up, Dave. Dermotron and Jack when he joins. Also, everyone in the chat. Come on, you Spurs. 4-0. RST, good to be back in full swing. That it is, lad. I absolutely cannot wait. We also have Mark Cook. Big up, lads. Great to see you. Tyler. Big up, Dermot and Dave. How have we got 50 million for Skip, Parrott, and Emerson? We got to give the club credit. Outgoings, deserve every single bit of credit. You know, they've got rid of up to what? It's well over 10 players now at this point anyway, into double digits. You know, they deserve a lot of credit there in terms of outgoing Tyler, for sure. MV Joker Davies, come on, you Spurs, time to go and win some silverware. Give me anything. 5-0 Spurs. We've got Goku Snake. I'm hoping for another Sunny Screamer against them tonight. That would be nice. Dennis McPherson says, oi, oi, Savaloy, how's your father, mate? I presume you're speaking to me. Yeah, my father's good. He's always good. Yeah, he'd probably be in. He might answer for himself. I don't know whether you know him or not. Darren Caban, hi Dave, any win? Just good performance and 3 points. Look, I did say it to Jack in the members one. I'd love a convincing win. However, it's just about getting 3 points on the board, to be brutally honest with you. Lindstrom, come on, you Spurs. Great to see you. We also have Soul Agent. I need 2 goals from each of Matters. Van de Ven and Cutie to revive my FPL. I need Kulizeski. I need Son and Paro to all step up today. We've got Dan in the house, Dan Major, big up. Guys, it's Lee Nerry driving towards Rosslare to get the ferry home tonight. 4-1 win. Spurs, come on, you Spurs. Driving home, presume you're coming back from France, are you? Or are you heading back from the Basque region, testing out that route, the new route from there, you know, just before the Europa League final or the Europa League final this season? That's where it be held. But big up, Lee Nerry, and hopefully you have a safe journey home. We also have Evan McCabe's better half. Big up the panel and fellow Yid Army. Come on, you Spurs. Great to see you. Mary W. Can't wait. A bit nervous. We're all nervous. Jazz Fusion 5-2. Walk over with, well, not all of us. Jazzy isn't nervous, as you can see. We've got Tim Man 007. Big up, guys. Hope you're well. We're good, Tim Man. Hopefully you're keeping well, sir. Good to see you in the building. And excited for the new season, my man. King Hodder, good afternoon. 3-1 win. The Fox Hunt commences at 8 p.m. local time, and the quad is still on. Come on, you Spurs. Great to see you. Saray as well in here. Big up, Dave and Dermot. Great to see you. We've also got Badger in the house. Big up, Dermot. Come on, you Spurs. Matt Byam as well. 4-0, top of the league. Absolutely love that. We've got Teal Bicycle, Bentacore, Teal, nice colour. Bentacore at 6, Kulo at 8, and Madison at the 10 is mine. Good to see that. Got the Big D, big up Dave and Dermatron. Mrs. has the dinner on and a few drinks for the game later. Bentacore to have a masterclass at 6. Can't wait for 8 tonight. Buzzing. You know the rules, Big D. You can't mention there's dinner on without telling me exactly what's in it, the condiments that go with it, and the sauce to complement it, Big D. So make sure you do that for me, please. And then we'll take 1 or 2 more and we'll crack on and find out how Jacko is. Apesh Patel, afternoon, Dave. Just resting up after work. So many outgoings, but no first teamers signed. Only 2 of the old guard left, Sonny and Davies. Only one of them deserve to be here. That's what I will say. And then Picario, Piccolo. Good name. Hopefully the emergence of Bergval lights up fire up Madison's ass. So do I. I think we all do, to be brutally honest with you. We need to start performing. I'm going to take this from Cara Simpson, and then we're going to crack on, and I'll give you a thumbs up as we move on. There's so many of you in house, hard to keep up. You're all excited today, which I absolutely love. Cara Simpson says, hello, gents. Is there something important happening today? Oh, yes, there is. We are going to smash Leicester all over the pitch. Come on, you Spurs. I mean, that would be the plan tonight, to be brutally honest with you, Cara Simpson. Jacko, how are you, my man? The day has finally arrived.
Day has finally arrived, Dave. We descend into the chaos, as I've mentioned multiple times, and finally the day has come. Sorry for my tardiness. Sorry for being late. I was just setting up the watch long, which has been given a brand new spanking look by our one and only Lazy 8, Nick, who could be joining us for the watch along later. So do get tuned for that one. It's going to be a 3-person, 2 for the price of 1, 3 for the price of 1 for the watch along. Sorry, it was late though. It wasn't as kind of complicated as, parking a tractor, but it does take a lot of clicking. It does take a lot of button moving around to set up the OBS and set up all the watch along stuff. So I'm looking forward to it, Dave. We're descending into another season. This might be my 3rd one with you at this point. And I hope it's going to be a good one under Ange Postecoglou. And with this whole new lineup, this whole new squad, and things have been changing in kind of the span of a year. It feels like the whole squad has been changed. It's just a lot of new, fresh look to the Spurs and new, fresh look to the Irish Hotspur. Looking forward to it.
No, I absolutely cannot wait to get going. It's really, really exciting. So look, we may as well just crack on. Let's start talking about the greatest club in world football. And we will start with everything you need to know, of course. Leicester's injuries crisis up front. Patson Daka out with his ankle. Vardy as well was ruled out by Cooper in the press conference, along with Connor Cody as well. So like I said, the only available striker to have is Tom Cannon. Also, Skip is not available to play against us today, but Harry Winks is. And for Tottenham, of course, we just have the suspended Basuma, which we will talk about as well at some point. And of course, the game is away at the King Power Stadium. Kickoff is 8 p.m. tonight. Referee is Chris Cavendish, the guy we had against Bayern Munich. Absolutely awful. So if he's anti-Tottenham, we know why. Also, along with David Coote in the VAR room, if you do want to watch the game in the UK and Ireland, it's on Sky Sports. In the USA, it's on NBC Sports. And in Australia, it's also on Optus Sports. So that's everything you guys need to know. And then we have Liam in here. Big up, lads. 3-2 to the Yids, Kulu brace, and a João Gomez. Here we go soon. Let's wait and see on the João Gomez because, you know, I think there's a few Wolves ITKs or people involved in and around Wolves sort of saying that there's not really any legs to this one. So let's wait and see. And plus, with Johan Lang now, no one knows what Tottenham are doing right now. Absolutely nobody in terms of outgoings or incomings right now because of the way he operates. You know, he likes to keep everything a secret. So the João Gomez one, I'm not going to get too excited. Plus, I just don't see Tottenham paying the money to get him out of Wolves, to be brutally honest, the money that it's going to cost Liam, especially now that it's so close to the season. However, if he comes in, I'll be all for it. You know, I know a lot of Spurs fans will. Jack's mentioned him before. I know Sava has. A few other people have. So, you know, he wouldn't be a bad signing to make at all, Liam. But good to see you in the house, sir. And hopefully you are keeping well, my man. But guys, let's get into it. Oh, just actually a couple of quick rule changes that we'll run through ahead of the new campaign. Semi-automated offsides, as seen at the Euros, will come in over one of the next two international breaks. So make sure we look out for that. Lineups will now be out 1 hour and 15 minutes before kickoff instead of 1 hour. And also, there's a new Twitter page called the Premier League Match Center where they sort of they're supposed to explain why they've made the VAR decision, but I've checked it out and they haven't. And also, you're not really allowed to put blocks on from set pieces anymore. So hopefully Vicario gets a lot more protected. But Jack, we'll start with you, my man. I mean, how important is it today to get off to a winning start tonight to alleviate some of the maybe angst or concerns within the fan base about Ange and the summer transfer window?
I mean, it's absolutely vital, I think, for a few different reasons, because it feels like going into the season, there are a lot of Spurs fans that are feeling very confident. They're feeling like Ange is going to build off of the last season, learn from some of the mistakes that maybe him as well as the squad and some of the players have made. Also, they're looking forward to seeing the new signings come in here and make a huge fresh impact onto the squad and just onto the campaign. And then there's also kind of that feeling that this is a team that can't really slip up against. I feel like there's not too many excuses. The Leicester City fans aren't going into this with any confidence whatsoever. Steve Cooper is a manager that Ange Postecoglou has come up against before. These players have come up against before. I'll be honest, when I look at that Leicester squad on paper, I don't think it's very good. I don't think it's that strong. I feel like Spurs do just have to get 3 points today. Doesn't need to be the most convincing, I think, of wins, because you have to take into consideration that when you do come up against recently promoted sides, even if they are a bit doom and gloom about the upcoming season, they are still going to have that sort of fresh optimism to a degree and, you know, have a bit of a, you know, spicy atmosphere, you'd like to think. And so it won't be made so easy for us, but I do feel like this is an opponent as well as a situation that Spurs just have to grab the 3 points, and they have to settle the nerves of any of the fans that are feeling really confident or any of the fans that are feeling less confident about this upcoming season. So it's absolutely vital, Dave.
I think it would just settle us down a lot. You know, there's a lot of unknowns. You know, Ange has a belief that the more used to the players are to the system, the better they're going to be in it. There's still no signs that he's going to address maybe the set piece issues and stuff like that. In fact, in the embargo part of the pre-match press conference, it came out last night, and he was saying that you know, it's more about the players deviating from the game plan, not sticking to the game plan and stuff like that. And I just have a feeling some fans might read that and go, well, why can't we start dealing with other issues, make us more solidified and stuff like that? I think if we could keep a clean sheet tonight, I think it'll do us the world of good and settle fans down a little bit. You know, there's a lot of unknowns in terms of the young squad. If they come off the bench or some of them start and they have a massive impact today, I think it will calm everyone down a little bit as well. So I think it's absolutely of utmost importance to try and get that win today to be able to alleviate maybe some of the tensions in and around the fan base. Maybe some of it is to do with nerves as well, but let's wait and see. Soren, of course, great to have you back, my man. I was telling everybody you were parking the tractor, putting it away for the evening. Tottenham is more important than feeding the nation. First of all, how are you, sir?
All right. I'm tired. I nearly said something else then, but yeah, tired. I'm ready for bed, but it's going to be a late one, isn't it? So never mind. It's good.
We're absolutely all excited for game day, I can tell you that. But Soren, I want to know, last year we finished just 2 points shy of a Champions League spot. Do you believe Tottenham can surpass that performance this season?
Well, yeah. What's the point in not thinking that? I said it last year that for me, minimum was European spots. So we got Europe. I would have been very disappointed had we gone into the Farmers League. I was disappointed we didn't get Champions League because I think that's where we should be, and that's what we should be aiming for as a minimum. And this season I don't want anything less than that. I want Champions League. I want Champions League every season. I want to see my team playing the best teams in Europe. And, I get where some people say we're not equipped for that, but you look at it and think, well, is that why we are? I'm not saying it would be different, but is that why we're signing the youngsters this year? Because we haven't got Champions League. Had we got Champions League, it might have been different. We'll never know. I'm sure people will say, we do know, and it wouldn't be, but I'd like to think it would be. But yeah, I think anything less than a win tonight is not good enough, and anything less than Champions League and hopefully a trophy is not good enough neither.
Well, look, like I said, for me, obviously I would like to improve on last year. I would like to get into the Champions League. I hope we can match Ange Postecoglou's ambitions this season, which he said all last season, all pre-season. He wants to get into a title race while also trying to bring home one of the cups that we're in. So hopefully we can do that this year. For me, that should be the aim. That should be the goal. But Dermo, the squad improvements. Do you think we have made enough squad improvements or changes during the off-season that will impact Tottenham's ability to be able to compete for the trophies?
I think we've made some, but we need to make more. It's been a bit underwhelming, the incomings. The outgoings have been brilliant, and you can't disagree with the outgoings, but the incomings, I think we need 2 more. I think we need a number 6, and we need probably a midfielder as well, or a left back. We need to cover somewhere. We haven't covered everywhere. And if we can plug them holes, then yeah, I think we can. I think we have made improvements then. But we won't know that until the end of the window. And Tottenham have made some smart signings this year. And we've got Bergville in. He's great. We've brought that young winger in from Burnley who's really quick. Bit like an Aaron Lennon back in the day, taking people on and running. We've got Big Dom up front, which we've needed. Okay, he's no Harry Kane, but we've needed a striker, and we brought him in. I think he's going to do very well at Spurs. So we have done better in some areas. Other areas need to be improved. Probably another cover for fullback and number 6. But the window isn't over yet, so we'll see. But out of the outgoings, I think we've done that brilliantly, and I think that will help us get top 4 this season. I think we're going to finish top 3. I think this is going to be a great season for Spurs. And this is not like me being delusional. I really do think if we get the right players in, second season under Ange, Dave, you and me well know what he can do what he done up there. Second season, he's always successful. This is Ange's second season. He will be successful this year.
Well, look, he even said something in his embargo press conference, something similar. The second season, I always go on and win and compete for things, and that's what I expect this season. So let's wait and see what happens. But guys, have we brought in enough maybe senior experience to help drag these players along? And what I mean by that is, you listen to the class of 92, they always speak about the senior pros they had around the dressing room to help guide them, help get them through tough games, help look after them on the pitch, help give them the information they need to be able to get themselves up to that level. You also look at Brighton. Many Spurs fans look at Brighton and say, but look at them, look at all the young players they bring in. They don't moan. No, but they also have James Milner, Lewis Dunk, Danny Welbeck. They only got rid of Lallana, but they've had him to sort of help bring them through. Do we have enough in this team to really help these youngsters kick on?
Yes and no. I feel like we're a bit like a Chelsea, where when you kind of look at the squad on paper, a lot of the players have only been at Spurs for like what 1, 2, maybe 3 years. In a way that needed to happen because a lot of the guys that we did call the more experienced players were guys that Dave and I pretty much just wanted out of the club. The Eric Dyers of the world, the Winkses of the world, the Davies, the Larises, those sort of people that did need to be pushed on. And Spurs have brought in new, young, vibrant, talented players, but they haven't exactly mixed it up that much with more experienced, signings to bring in. And it's kind of a tough balance to find, right? Where we did need to freshen up the squad and much more in the younger sense than we did with more experienced players. But now it's kind of like we did lean a bit too far on one side versus the other, where now we're pretty much only going after young and very talented and up and coming players, but no one with really that much of an established kind of career yet or that much established experience. I'd argue as much as Solanke is kind of a divisive signing, he's actually one of the more experienced signings that we did make over this, right? He had some very lackluster seasons, but he has been around the block. Like he has a lot of experience from the championship, from, being a reject from Chelsea, from Liverpool, etc. So he does kind of know his way around the Premier League. But you look at the guys like Odegaard for, recent signing, that's kind of more in line with what Spurs have been doing. These guys that are only kind of just developing their careers, only kind of getting a sense of what they need to work on, what their best attributes are. And I think it's good that Spurs have done that. But for the most part, yes, I'd agree, Dave, that maybe we haven't exactly targeted as many experienced players as I would have thought we had, especially for that right wing position, where it did feel like we already had Johnson, who's still quite young, as people like to give him that excuse. You still look at Kulusevski, who's also still quite young for the most part. Yes, he has experience in the Premier League, but he still has a way to go in terms of developing his own game. And some other players, out in important positions that we did need to kind of add, I'd argue, a bit more experience. You can't do it all perfectly. It's hard to strike the perfect balance, but maybe we could have, gotten someone in, I'd say, alongside of Solanke this summer that would have maybe provided a bit more guaranteed kind of, experience, I guess is the word that we keep using. And there's a reason we do use it, is because, it does help maybe the rest of the squad not feel as nervous or as anxious about when they make mistakes or when, kind of the road gets tough, because there will be bumps, there will be roller coaster parts of this season. And it is good to have those guys that have been through that type of thing before, and guys who know how to handle when they're, dipping out of form and when they're on fire, and they know how to be able to keep their head calm. And I think we don't have maybe enough of those type of players. I'd rather have the squad that we have now compared to the squad that we had 3 or 4 years ago under the days of Steve Hitchens and even under the days of Jose, as well as the beginning of Antonio Conte. But yes, Dave, if you wanted to look for a slight sort of, hindsight, to this window, it's not over. But if you wanted to provide some hindsight, I'd say that Spurs could have, technically gotten in maybe one more player, I'd argue, with a bit more experience. Didn't even need to be the Premier League. Could have been European experience.
No, 100%. And the reason why I sort of asked that, Soren, is because, like Jack alluded to, when you look out on the pitch and when you hear Postecoglou's words, the reason why we're deviating from the game plan is because you don't have strong leaders on the pitch to, tell people to stick to the game plan, stuff like that. What's your thoughts on it, Soren? Is there too much made about the experience? Because I have a feeling coming into this window, we were 3 or 4 players away from really sort of kicking on if we signed the right sort of caliber and the right quality of player. However, it looks like to me they're more getting the team primed for when Guardiola leaves Man City, in the next year or two, rather than actually get it primed for a title challenge this season, which is what Postecoglou has said. So it bears the question, and it's a bit on what Ryman says here as well. He says this is about a rebuild year. Are we in a rebuild or are we going for titles? Because as Postecoglou says, he wants to go for the league.
I think we've got to be careful in quoting what Anne just said. If you actually read and listen to what he said, it was, I'd like to be, I'd want to be type thing. It's not, we will be. I'd like to think there's big differences with just slotting an odd word in there. Now, are we in a title race this year? Come on, let's be realistic. No, we're not. But that said, we're still in it until we're not. We're in the quad still. So, it's all there to be won. But let's not forget as well, all these youngsters we've signed were all playing first team football for their clubs. It's, we're not signing kids that haven't played any first team football for their respective clubs. It might not be all Premiership. But I mean, we all sat here and said Bergvall isn't, he's not played any serious football for a big club and blah, blah, blah. He's coming and he's looked brilliant. Great. He's only come from the Championship. Well, yeah, but he was a mainstay player in that team. And you look at the Odebear. Well, he was in the Premiership last season. So all these players have got some experience. Now, we look at experience in our team. Yeah, we haven't got enough leaders, but we've got experience. We've got Sonny. We've got Madison. We've got Romero. We've got Werner. Werner is experienced. He's got experience. He has won things for other teams. So we do have some experience. Maybe not the experience we wanted to see signing this year, but I still think we'll sign somebody, a mainstay player. I'm hoping for I'd love to see Locatelli come in or somebody like that.
Yeah.
But I think if we got Locatelli in, then it changes a lot of things. It changes if he stays fit. It changes a lot of things this season.
Why?
Why? Because you've suddenly got somebody who is proven in that midfield, who we know is quality. It's not somebody who we hope is quality. He is quality. And is he better than anything we've got? Probably. I don't think. Who would you say was any better than him? Probably nobody. And we talk about Eze. We talk about a couple of others. I'd rather have Locatelli in than any of the others that we've been linked to be honest with you. And I also think if you got somebody like a Locatelli in, then that is that type of player that kind of is the Conte on the pitch. He's gonna push the players forward, and he's gonna raise the level of those youngsters, and that's what we need. We need that. I mean, again, if Madison suddenly, starts playing this season, then he's that type of player as well. That when our players are on form and they're playing, we I'm not going to say we're unbeatable because that's stupid, but we can match anybody.
Okay, Dermo. Any thoughts you want to sum up there on what Soren, myself, or Jack has had to say?
Well, look, I think the class of '92 was slightly different. I think that's slightly different to what we've got now. And I know everyone's making that example from our young kids, the class of '92. I think the class of '92, having lived through it, and really remembering it really well, and watching them being brought through, it was totally different to now. I think we have got experience in the team, and a lot of youngsters are Premier League experience anyway. Because
I'm not talking about experience, Dermo, but do we have the leaders in the team? Being a leader and being experienced are two different things.
Yeah, I can go back to the 80 side that I remember. Every player in that 11 was a leader. You didn't have to be a captain. There was 7 or 8 leaders, and we have that in this team. We have a Romero who's a leader. Van der Ven does a lot of shouting on the pitch. Vicario does a lot of talking. I game for Brighton last year. Vicario never shuts up. He's always shouting and swearing at his defenders. We've got Sonny does a lot of talking on the pitch. A lot of them, you don't have to be captain. We have leaders on the pitch. And I think it's about, and it's the youngsters that are doing the leading this pre-season. The likes of an Archie Gray, the likes of a Bergvall. Being a leader doesn't mean shouting and roaring. Being a leader means leading by example, putting in that tackle, making that long bust and run. That's leader, right? Do what I'm doing. So being a leader is different than just sitting there shouting and roaring. And we have all different types of leaders in our team. And I think we have to follow the youngsters. The youngsters are the leaders. They're the future. And they're the ones that can take responsibility by the scruff of the neck and drive us forward. I would love a Locatelli. I agree with Soren. Locatelli would change everything for us if we can get him in. But I think the likes of Archie Gray, Bergvall, I think, look at them. I think they're the ones that are going to drag us forward because they lead by example, like Sonny leads by example. And it's all about leading by example, basically. You don't have to shout and roar. Anyone can do that. But putting that tackle in, making that run, getting into positions all the time. And that's what these youngsters do. And I think we have got that. And Ange leads by example in the dressing room by saying, right, lads, the dressing room's yours.
I think
That
what
is
we
your
need, though,
space.
Dermot, is when you say that, and I agree with everything you just said, the one thing we don't seem to have on the pitch, though, is when things are going wrong, is that player that goes around and ups everybody.
Yeah, exactly.
As much as you say the shouting and that isn't necessarily what you need, that's the only player I can think of that kind of does that is Romero. And he does go and he shout, he's a no-nonsense player. And I think that's what we need a little bit more of. We need that player that when things are just going wrong, you've got that who goes around everybody and it's like, come on, we can still do this. Yeah. And that's the one thing I think we're missing.
Yeah, and he does that. Yeah, you see, that's the whole thing of leading by example. Yeah. When he puts that tackle in, or he do you know what I mean? He's leading, come on, we can do this. You don't have to shout and roar all the time. It's a tackle or something like that that sparks a team. And the 80s side had that in spades. Everyone was a leader, but they're a leader in different ways. And
I think the big thing where you say about the 92, though, the big difference that they had was Roy Keane. Yeah,
exactly.
That's when you've got a Roy Keane or a Schmeichel even,
Steve Bruce at the time.
Yeah, you've got those players there that wouldn't let you drop. And that's what we just don't have. We don't have that player that won't let you drop.
For me, I think you hit what I'm looking for more is on the pitch when things are going wrong, like you said, Soren. Someone standing there, to hold people account to standards. I don't see that on the pitch. When you look at the set pieces, our great friend Johnny last season was behind the goal for one of them and was recording what was going on. Vicario's physically having to go out and move people into place. That shouldn't be happening. There should be someone back there barking orders, being responsible for people. We've got a team where everyone almost feels like they're responsible for themselves, but no one wants to take responsibility really for the overall collective. And I think if we did have that someone out there, I think it could make a huge difference to us this season. It'll make a huge difference to us in games. You won't see us sort of spectacularly collapse the way we do. If you had that strong leader, that doesn't happen. And I still feel like we're missing that. I was hoping we could have really brought that in this market. Don't get me wrong, there's still time to do it. But I do think that is something we're missing. Dermot's right. There is different types of leaders. There are people that will train hard every day, set the example there. People that will run their nuts off during games, track back and stuff, set the example there. But what this team does need, and that's one thing that United team did have, Robson, Bruce, Keane, they had big characters in the leaders. And, Keane was maybe seen as the guy on the forefront driving them standards, but Bruce, Robson, you hear Gary Neville always talk about Brian Robson and stuff like that, being vocal and stuff like that. And I just fear we lack that right now. And I just hope that we maybe see that and bring that in this market.
I mean, I go back I know I keep going back to the 80s. The only time but Steve Perryman was like they called him the silent assassin, babyface assassin, because that was his sort of way. You had Graham Roberts, who was like Romero. He would do the conscious tackles. Paul Miller was another one as well. You had Glenn Hoddle. He led by his talent. He led by what he could do in the football. Ozzy Idealist, Ricky Avila, they're all led by different, but all of them were leaders. And that came from Keith Birkinshaw. That was led by the dressing room. And also there were a tight-knit group as well. And this is why Ange's Tottenham reminds me so much of the early 80s Tottenham, because it's the same. They're a tight-knit group. They're all brothers. They all want to fight for each other. And that's the one thing that United team as well had. They all wanted to all die for each other. And this is what we haven't had for a good couple of years under previous managers. This is Tottenham's DNA. This is what Tottenham's all about. Tottenham will do well when everyone is pulling in the right direction. And this is what Ange is doing. And we are getting there. But we need that Steve Perryman. We need that Danny Blanchflower type captain. We need that sort of Gary Mabbott type captain that's there, that can say, hang on, lads, I've seen this all before. Calm down. We can do this. Let's be calm. Let's be collective. Let's keep pushing and we can win this. That's what we're missing. If we can get that in, I don't think there'll be no holding us back. We're flying.
It's just like when... Oh, sorry, go on.
No, I was going to say, you say that, and I mean, with what you were saying earlier, Dave, about the goalkeeper, you see, I'd like to see that. I like to see the goalie pushing people, and it's not the first time he's done it. He's done it 4 or 5 times last year. Where and if you watch Schmeichel used to do it a lot. He puts the players where he wants them, and I think that's a good thing rather than a negative thing. Say, if we look at it and say, "Oh, the players don't know where they should be," well, they might be where they've been told to go, but Vicario has seen something or wants them somewhere else. So I think that's a good thing. I want my goalkeeper dominating his box and telling them where he wants them.
I hear you, but from the video I was watching, it's like all he should really have to do there is roar point. That's where I need you to go. The fact that he has to physically go out and grab them, it means other people aren't tuned in. They're not listening, and that's my concern. Don't get me wrong. I agree with you. I like that from my goalkeeper. At least someone is going to take that responsibility. But it shows to me that people are switched off from set pieces, and probably why we concede so goddamn many of them. And it hasn't just been an Ange Postecoglou problem. It's been a Jose problem, and it's been a Conte problem. It's been a long outstanding problem at this football club. Just quickly though, everybody, because then I want to go and find out sort of what we need to maybe over the rest of this window to maybe propel us into that title race, because the only reason why I keep bringing it up, it is what Ange says, and he did mention in the embargo press section of the press conference, second year, I go and challenge. And I do get Soren's point, but I think he's putting it out there for a reason. I do think that is maybe his expectation. So I want to get onto that. And then we're going to talk a little bit about Ange, and then we're going to get a lot into the starting lineup and some of the players. We're all excited about that today. But first of all, everybody, please wish Lee a massive happy birthday.
Pick up, Leo.
We like to have an uplifting community around here. We like to make everyone's day special. So please wish Leo a happy birthday. Big up Rick in Brighton, member for 12 months. Not Rick in Rio anymore. It'll be Rick in Manchester or Liverpool next week. Says it's a question of mentality, no belief, no title. Yeah, look, 100%, 100%. And I do hope that a lot of these players, you do hear it coming out of the camp over pre-seasons from players, that the ambition here is to win trophies. When players sign, they always talk about the ambition is to go and win trophies. And it is good to see that mentality back at this football club. I know Jose and Conte tried to bring it, but maybe they didn't have the right players to sort of instill that in. You have players that were maybe pushing back and stuff like that. Whereas I do think now it is a massive positive that we are seeing a lot of players, Jack, right? Whether they sign or whether it's interviews, they're talking about wanting to win.
Yeah, I mean, every Spurs player comes in probably knowing that, Spurs fans are pretty desperate to get anything over the line, any type of trophy, and they would like to feel like they could be one of those that can do that for the fans as well as the club, and they would go down as legends and as heroes for that. I think that's even an attraction to plenty of the managers that come here. Can they be that cult hero that delivers the trophy, in such a long time? And I do understand that maybe some of these players, they might not really be that fully, in belief of like a title for the Premier League, but they should have some sort of hope of, pushing for some type of trophy, whether it's in the Europa League, whether it's in a domestic cup of some type, because Spurs are now, I'd argue, at least on paper, when you do look at the starting 11 and just the squad in general, they should be good enough to go far and deep into a tournament of some kind. They should be able to push for a domestic trophy or for the European trophy this year. It is, though, a question of mentality. And I think we saw that kind of in the case of, teams like Arsenal, who had to, I guess, over the years kind of convince themselves that they were good enough to try to challenge Man City. And that's kind of the scary thing, is you do have to kind of within your own team, the whole kind of squad in general, convince yourselves and convince each other that, yes, we are good enough to be able to do this. And yes, you can look at each other and be like, that guy's a good player. This guy's a good player. Everybody here is talented. But then you have to have that sort of arrogance about you. And also even that just sheer confidence that, yes, we are good enough to win something with this squad. And maybe in the past, Spurs haven't had that. And I think it's up to Ange Postecoglou to instill that in him. And then kind of back to the previous conversation of, the leaders around the dressing room, they also have to have that belief within themselves and then hold each other accountable to keep that standard throughout the season. Because sometimes they go into the season with that sort of mentality. Yeah, we are good enough. We should be pushing for it. But when things get tough, when things get hard, you have to maintain that. And sometimes I feel like Spurs haven't done that, where they do lose that belief in themselves. They lose that belief in what the manager is doing. And then they kind of throw each other under the bus. And that just can't happen in this season. And then in the upcoming seasons with what we're building, we have to be able to start convincing ourselves that we are good enough to win something. I don't think it needs to be a Premier League title, But I think what Ange probably meant was it needs to be a trophy push of some type. And I think they just have to hold each other, accountable in that regard. And yes, it is kind of more belief than it is always, kind of talent or anything. It kind of goes hand in hand, the belief as well as the talent.
Absolutely. Couldn't have said it better myself. Big up, Rick and Brighton. Really appreciate
I feel
the
like
support,
Rick and Brighton.
brother.
I should be Jack in whatever location I am, all the time. I keep,
Jack and
switching
Cape Cod.
switching locations, all the time. I should take Rick's name.
And big up Chris, member for 33 months. Coys. First game of the season. I'm pumped. Solanke hat-trick incoming. A lot of people expecting Solanke to start today and bag a couple of goals. Look, I hope he does. I've got plenty of songs lined up for when he does score that I can sing and make myself happy with. And look, at the end of the day, I did have my doubts and my concerns, and I hope he proves me wrong. Gets off to a good start tonight. I'll zip it. I'll absolutely zip it, Chris. So hopefully that is the case. Great to see you in the building, though, my man. And we've also got Delinquenty. Great stream, dude. Looking forward to the game tonight. We all are, sir. We're all buzzing. And then Faz Radfar 3-1 Spurs. Let's be patient with Ange. 2 more seasons to build. Soren, you're nodding your head, my man. Why? Look, I do agree. Fans do need to be patient with Ange Postecoglou. And I do think we probably will see progression this season upon last season. But do we have to come out of this, give him 2 more seasons to build? Because I did say this when Ange was hired. A lot of people were under the perception this guy is a 3-4 year project manager. Go back, look at the history of his times at clubs. He doesn't stay that long at football clubs, and he says it. He's been saying it. And I keep trying to warn people this second season, he wants to be in a position to be able to compete. So do we have to maybe get on board with Ange Postecoglou's message and stop with this being patient and 2 more seasons to build?
I mean, I think we have to be patient. I think that there's 2 statements within this one.
Yeah.
We've got to be patient. And look, we can all say if we went back to last season and we flipped the season round, none of us would be moaning and saying that Ange's going to get sacked. But because he won the first 10 games and then lost virtually, went badly after that, it was disastrous. Had it gone the other way, beginning of last season, we were all here saying, yeah, it's going to be a mid-table finish. Half the fan base thought we'd get relegated because we'd lost Kane, and it was doom and gloom. And then we had 10 games where it was just absolutely fantastic, and we're all suddenly in a title charge and blah blah blah. And then the wheels fell off. Half the team got injured. I think we had 23 injuries last season to main players as well. This season, I'm not going to say he's got a free pass because he hasn't in any terms, but we do have to be patient. Anybody that thinks we're going to challenge for the title this season is deluded. I don't see. No, but I mean, look, I think we'll be hopefully there and thereabouts, but we are not going to challenge for the title. Are we going to challenge for a cup? We bloody better be. That's the difference. I agree. We might not get to a final. We might not get to a semi-final, but we better be looking as though we're trying. That's the big difference this season.
It took Arteta 5 years to even push Man City, right? And if Man City still stay the way they are, I think it is a lot to ask Spurs to do that. But Spurs should have a difference in mentality this season, knowing that Ange has already had a season under his belt and other players have already had a season under Ange. I agree with you. They should have at least some sort of mentality that they are pushing for something. Doesn't have to be a Premier League title, but it should be something.
The thing is, what we've got to think of, where if we say let's be patient and 2 more seasons, if you look at it, there is a massive amount in place now. If one season with these kids, if they get, if they do reach some potential, all of a sudden next summer's transfer window, we might only need that 1 or 2 players. Yeah. That's the big difference. I mean, it might go wrong. Don't get me wrong. It could all, the wheels could drop off and these kids might be disastrous. I don't think they're going to be. I think there is something special in place now. 1 season with this squad now means next summer it's probably not a rebuild. It's probably let's go. And that's the way I look at it. That this season we need to be looking at. I mean, don't get me wrong. I want 4th or higher, but 5th, 4th, or 3rd. I don't think we're going to come any higher than 3rd. That's our challenge is 3rd. But we've got to win a cup. Or we've got to do something in a cup. And we've got to look as though we're trying in the cup. That's the difference. You know, we can't go in and just peter out at the first go. If we go out in the first rounds of them all, then that's where this fan base is going to go into absolute meltdown.
Yeah.
But look, I mean,
what we do best.
Pardon?
It's what we do best.
Well, it is, isn't it? I mean, that's the problem. And you know, we've all got doubts, but we've got to go into the season thinking, well, you know, this season we're going to do something better. And I, for one, not quite as optimistic maybe as Dermot, where, you know, title challenge, but I, for one, think there is something special there. And when people say to me, oh, you know, we've just signed a load of kids, well, they're not just kids, are they? They are promising.
Yeah.
Like, you know, it's not like we've just, I mean, I know they're probably unknown to a lot of us, but it's not just we've gone out and got a young kid from somebody. It's we've handpicked the talent, and
a lot of them are ready, right? A lot of them are ready. The ones we've signed, there's not like, although there's always room for the development, a lot of them are ready to come in and step in if needed.
Yeah,
and maybe just to add on to what you're saying about the Ange Postecoglou. Look, if he doesn't win a trophy this season, I don't think he should be sacked as long as we see progress, as long as we get, you know, a good cup run or something like that. I'll fully agree with you in that regard. And maybe that's what Faz Radfar maybe means about the patience, you know, maybe a bit patience. Even if we don't win something this year, as long as there's progression, we should show him patience. And I fully agree with that for sure. Big up Faz Radfar. I just want to say, though, guys, quickly, 736 of you massive, passionate Tottenham fans in the house, which I absolutely really appreciate. Huge numbers on the pre-match build-up today. Guys, could you please so kindly smash the like button if you're enjoying the content. Smash the subscribe button if you are new. The big push for this channel to reach 15K is on. Someone always says 15K or bust. So if we don't meet it, it looks like we're going to go bust. And lastly, guys, if you do want to really, you know, go that extra mile and really, you know, become a member of this community, feel free to grab the channel membership. The link is up in the pinned in the comments on the YouTube page. If you want, click on that. That'll bring you to the memberships. We've got so much members-only content that, you know, the normal people don't feast their eyes on. This great content, but we've also got more for members only. So feel free if you want to grab one of them. But also, guys, you can participate, get questions in. You know, the chat is flying. If you really want to make it stand out, make sure we don't miss them. Feel free to make it super chat. Always great to support all Spurs content creators out there in the community. You know, we all do this off our own back and put a lot of time into it. So, you know, it would be greatly appreciated. But, of course, we know it's holiday season. You know, kids back to school and stuff like that. So, you know, don't leave yourself broke. So, guys, absolutely spot on there. But let's keep it moving. There, I think I got rid of it actually by mistake. Is the delay? No, I didn't. From Finn McMullen, and then this will round off our maybe transfer window discussion and move more into Ange Postecoglou. He says, "Are people seriously confident we are where we're at with centre back depth? If Van de Ven or Romero were to get injured, same again as last season, you will see." Sort of agree with that, to be honest with you, Finn. But I want to caveat off the back of this, guys. What do we have left this summer transfer window to do if we really want to plug the gaps and really push on to bring home a trophy this season? We'll start with you, Dermot, and work our way backwards, lad.
I think for me, a number 6 and the defender. I think somewhere in the defence. I think we've got Ashley Phillips there that can cover the centre backs. We've seen Archie Gray play there as well and play quite comfortably in centre backs as well, if needed. So I think we need cover in the back 4 and also a number 6. Because I think we're quite sorted everywhere else. I really do. I feel the front now has been nearly sorted. The midfield is there. We just need that number 6 to just shore up, sit in front of the back 4 and just shore that up a little bit. So if we are on the defensive, a back 4 become a back 5, if you know what I mean. So he can slot in just to the middle. Personally, I would buy another centre back and put Romero as our number 6 because that's where he plays for Argentina. And for me, I think that's where he does. He has played in number 6 for Argentina. He has played in that position.
But that's not where he plays. He
plays centre back.
He plays
but he has played there, and he wants to play in that role as well. He has come out and said he wants to play as the number 6. He has come out and said that.
I mean, I'll disagree with you there, Dermot, because every time I've heard him talk, every time I've heard him talk, he wants to stay at centre back because otherwise he will struggle to get in the Argentinian team.
Yeah, but he has said that he wants to move. He does like playing as a number 6 as well. He wants to be. He finds he's more involved in the game. He said that at some point last season. I will dig it out and send it to you. I did see it somewhere. I have heard him say it. But I think, yeah, defender in the midfield. And people can laugh at me for saying that, but he has said that. So, but, defender and the midfielder for me, Dave.
Defender and midfielder, no problem. Soren, where are you at with the rest of this market? Man, what do you think we need to bring in?
I think it depends. I mean, we say about a number 6, which we know Angie's not necessarily going to get a number 6. That's why I think the Locatelli is a great addition, because he kind of plays as that holding player, but is very capable of going forward as well. And he's the type of player that, I mean, I'm not a manager, so it's just my opinion, that suits the Ange system, because he's not just a holding player and he's not just an attacking player. He's kind of a little bit of both. But I did say that I would like to see that sort of left back stroke left centre back. To me, if we're not going to see Ash Phillips this year, we do need that extra defender, because look, as much as I like to defend Davies, he's probably past it now. For this system, he's not going to be able to play it. In an odd game, maybe a European game, something like that, then I wouldn't be as worried about putting him in there. But we do need that sort of centre back. But who it is, I don't know. Midfield, yeah, I kind of agree. So it's a little bit of the same as Dermot says. But the one thing that, if I had to choose one or the other, I would be more wanting the centre back, because I think we've got enough in midfield, as long as we don't see the injuries we had last year. But I mean, the thing is, we talk about it, and everybody's still going on about Tony wasn't in the squad, and could we still see another striker coming?
No. We're done in the forward.
I'm not a Tony fan. I don't really think he fits our system, but wouldn't that be an interesting one if we suddenly had 3 strikers: Tony, Solanke, and Richarlison?
Look, it'd be a dream scenario for me. Tony would start every single game ahead of both of them. But look, to be brutally honest, I think we're done in the forward areas. I don't think we're going to see any more forwards come in. I think more you're looking at maybe a midfielder at a push. I think if we can get rid of Lo Celso, and then hopefully something else in that back line, more so on the left side, someone that can play left side of centre back and left back like a Van de Ven, or ideally one that can play in either position. Because I agree with you, the drop off from Destiny Udogie to Ben Davies is way too far, and somewhere it'll come back to haunt us. And I've said this every single season when people tell me Davies a good squad player. When he comes in, when we have to rely on him, results drop, and that's just the way it is. He cannot play this system, and it's imperative that the club get that, because what's going to happen is some of these guys, if they're still around, the Celso, Davies, people like that, they'll come in, there'll be a drop-off, and Ange Postecoglou will take the blame, just like every other manager has done. So hopefully they'll learn their lessons. Jack, for you, what's left to do in the window, lad?
I'd agree that with the recent Basuma kind of stuff where he is showing that inconsistency, Bentancur, we don't really know if he can actually take that number 6 role on his own. I do think we need more midfielders. We do need, I'd argue, if I'm being kind of selfish or being a bit picky, I think we need a left back as well as a left-sided center back. I'd find it hard to get someone who I think can play the role in the way that Udogie does, and then can also play left-sided center back. I just don't even know if there's a player like that in the world that could cover ground in the way Udogie does, but also has that attacking intent. And I feel like we need someone who can cover for Van de Ven, but then we also need someone who can cover and provide competition for a Udogie. So I think Ben Davies, for me, he's just not really good enough to play. I mean, he can do left-sided center back. It's just not really in this type of system where you are going to have to hold a really high line. You do have to have some sort of pace to be able to track back, and you do have to be very good in possession and playing out from the back under pressure. And I just don't think Davies can do that. And he certainly can't play the left back role in this type of system either. And then when it comes to Jed Spence, I think he kind of showed that he still has kind of some, things to work on defensively for himself. And he looked a bit uncomfortable playing the inverted left back role as well. So I just think we actually need 2 players still for that back line. And then it comes to midfield, like I mentioned, I'm going to hold my tongue on right wing. I'd say we still need another right wing, but it looks like Spurs have gone for Odegaard. They are, keeping their faith in Johnson, at least for now. We do have a Kulusevski who can technically play there. And we have Mikey Moore, coming through the academy as well. And technically, Jamie Donnelly, after he comes back from loan, could also technically play out there as well, because he can practically play across the forward line. So I'm going to say that maybe we just have to be patient when it comes to the right wing position. It's not really ideal. I wish we didn't go about it this sort of way. I wish we got someone more for the here and now. But I'd say for what we have left to do, yeah, definitely a midfielder, a left back, and a left-sided center back. I just don't think, Dave, it's possible to have someone who could play in the way Destiny does and then also can play left-sided center back. That just seems like kind of an impossible, almost like FIFA type of player. That's just, just doesn't seem possible to me.
The thing is, Jack, with that one, I agree with you. Who'd you get that's going to match Udoji? It's a bit like when we was looking for a striker.
But then also likes to play center back as well. That just sounds so ridiculous.
But the thing is, it's like when we wanted a striker and we were saying we need somebody like Kane. We're never going to get another Kane. Udoji's come in and he's perfect for this system, but who'd you get to back him up? Because
what I would say to that,
I think there are players out there like us. Yeah, go ahead, Dave. Sorry.
No, sorry. I was just going to say what I would say to that is if you look at right back, we've got Jed Spence, who you could argue is similar to Destiny Udoji, but you've got Porro, who is absolutely exceptional on the ball, offers a goal threat. Where I look at Ben Davies is more in terms of on the ball. He can't do it. He cannot play this season. So although you're not going to get someone like Destiny Udoji, but you can still get someone that's quick, that's confident, and that can handle the ball.
The thing is, then you've got to get, when we look at left backs and we talk about left backs, there isn't a left back really out there that plays the system that Ange plays, where you've got that inverted left back that's bombing forward as much. You've got to be bloody fit to play them positions. And so, like you say, we've got Spence, which hopefully will get a good season behind him, but we can't be playing Spence at left back. You've got to keep him for the right back side. So you've got to get a left back, but it's so hard to find a left back that you can transform into that system that Ange plays.
Yeah.
We look back at players that we've had in the past and you think there aren't many that would actually suit this system. And I mean, we talk about Hincapié. I'd love Hincapié, but is he going to come and sit on the bench? No.
That's the problem.
Yeah.
Who's going to come and sit on the bench? You're going to want first in football. So
it's not a problem. Radu Dragusin turned down Bayern Munich to come and sit on the bench.
It doesn't mean that he's happy now. It doesn't mean that he's going to be happy now, though, does it? I mean, you look at the way he played in the Euros. I don't think he'll be wanting to start this season. And if he doesn't start, if he doesn't get much game time this season, I could see him not being happy. Unless we start winning things, then all of a sudden players are happy to sit on a bench. If we have no titles and no cups this year, you watch Dragusin. You watch. He will not be happy.
Fair.
I just think you want players, though, that can push others for that position. There are guys who might prefer just to have a guaranteed spot handed to them in the squad. Yes, they get their starting 11 spot handed over to them, no problem, no questions asked. And then there are other players who can actually handle the challenge, who have that sort of level of competitiveness in them to be pushing for those spots. Even if the guy is technically better than him, they have that sort of mentality where they're like, do you know what? I can push this guy, though, for his spot. The moment he slips up, I will be there to try to take that spot away from him. And it's good to have that sort of dynamic. The fact that Man City do it, the fact that Arsenal do it, I mean, Chelsea, I think, is a different story at this stage now that the Yanks have ruined that club. But it used to be the case over there where they had so many different players to pick from that are almost all the same level of quality. There's just kind of only being picked based off of form and based off of how well they're playing. That's basically their guarantee of them getting into the team. And I think we need more players like that. And we also need to establish, not really it's us as a fan base, it's more the coaching in the club that needs to establish that sort of mentality throughout the club, that there are, positions aren't guaranteed for anybody, that you will be pushed for your starting role. And I think we can do that at left back. I think if we brought in someone like, in my opinion, I think Dave would agree with me. I really like Ait Nouri from Wolves at the moment. I think he'd be willing to try to push Udogie for that spot in the left back position because he's being given a spot at Wolves. Like, that's his for now. No one's taking that from him. But if he wanted to go that step up in his career, he should go to a club like Spurs where he'd be playing in a system that makes sense to his game and his attributes. But then he'd be pushing himself with a guy that's an incredible left back that might not be better than, but at least he has that mentality that if Udogie does slip up, if he gets a red card or if he gets an injury or he just drops out of form a little bit, that he's ready to take that spot. And I think Dragoshin is that player. I think he knew that Romero was ahead of him and he's just waiting for that moment where he's going to be given minutes and he'll try to show something to Ange Postecoglou. That's how it works. Even that one game, Dave and I were laughing at Man City, who are subbing in center backs left and right, all these high quality world-class center backs that they have sitting on the bench. And it just shows that there are clubs that can instill that type of mentality where you can have a backup center back, you can have a backup midfielder that is about as good as the one that you already had starting on the pitch. And I think we have to, it's not really, again, I don't want to blame fans or anything because I think that's just silly, but I do think as a fan base, it's okay to try to strive for that type of mentality of having guys that are just as good on the bench, that are starting out in the starting 11.
I agree with you there. The thing you've got to watch, though, is if these players come in and have a good game, that they're not just automatically dropped for the main players again. They've got to have the belief that if they play well and they get that position, that they will be in that position until they're either injured or have bad games, and then they're swapped out again.
Mm-hmm. I think we're also playing like 80 plus games this season. There's no way Romero could play all 80 games. There's no way that Udogie is going to be able to play all. They definitely want to. That's just not feasible. So there will be moments for these guys to try to push them for that spot. And if they play well enough, then they'll give Ange something to think about. That's what we've even said with Bergvall. Did Bergvall come in thinking that he was going to take Madison's role straight away? Probably not. But the way that he has been playing, now that spot is practically his, if he keeps playing the way that he does. So it's just about having the mentality to think that if the guy isn't playing as well as you and you're playing well yourself, that position could be yours, in a moment's time. And I think it's just about getting players who are confident enough in their own abilities to take that type of to come into a squad with that sort of type of pressure and that sort of type of competition. And Bergvall would be a great example. Like probably in the beginning of this last year, no one would have thought that we were going to get a midfielder that could take Madison's spot. Now we do have a guy that can take Madison's spot, maybe even another one that could do that. So I think it's just a question of mentality.
I think also it's all about, sorry, Dave, I know you got to get on, so I'll just be very brief. It's all about now having 25 squad players. It's all about, it's not just about the first 11 or the bench, it's about your squad. And it's all about having people that can, having the right squad for the right match. Different matches depend on different players, and we've got European matches, we've got League Cup, FA Cup, League. You may want to rest QT and Van de Ven or one of them, say against a Wolves or something like that, if you've got Man United or Arsenal or Chelsea coming up. So Rudu would get his chance then. If we've got a big European night coming up, you might want to rest Madison and saying then you can put a Bergvall or you want to rest Sarr or Basuma, you put in Archie Gray. So it's all about having the right squad. I mean, Chelsea hold lottery numbers when they try to get players to come on. I mean, yesterday was ridiculous. You want to see the sidelines, about 30 of them there trying to warm up. And they're all lottery numbers. Yeah, they have them in the stands as well. I mean, the manager has lottery numbers, right? Who's number 327? You're on. But it's all about a squad. This is what it is. It's not just about the 11 and your two substitutes or three substitutes as it was back in the day. It's all about a squad, and you've got to manage your squad. So Rudu may say, right, you're going to get some European time. You're going to get the League Cup games. You're going to get the early FA Cup games. You're going to get these certain Premier League games. And it's all about pleasing everyone. You cannot please a whole squad, but Ange has got to. And I think Rudu will have got his 20-plus games this season. And if there is an injury, then he gets his chance. Then it's down to him. Yeah. This is my place. I want to make this my spot. Then it's down to QT to come back, say if it's him, to come back from injury. I'm going to reclaim my spot. Nobody should be guaranteed a first 11 spot. It should be what you do during the week. And then it's down to the manager on Thursday or Friday. This is my 11 for what I've seen.
Should be a meritocracy, you know. Every position should be earned. That's the ideal nature of a squad. But I just don't buy this anymore, that players won't sign to Tottenham to come and sit on the bench. If Richarlison signed to sit on the bench behind Harry Kane, and Radu Dragusin signed to come here and try and compete with Romero and Van de Ven, it can be done. That's maybe what I'm trying to say. But we're going to move on, have a quick discussion about Ange Postecoglou, and then we're going to fly through some questions about tonight's lineup. Hollywood Hotspur has become a new YouTube member. Really appreciate that, my man. Look, if you're looking for me for the new James Bond role, I can't do it. I'm committed to the Irish Hotspur. I'm sorry. But no, honestly, welcome to the community, my man. Really appreciate the support, the ever-growing community. Thank you very, very much, my man. And just quickly, don't want to self-gloat, but hopefully it goes hand in hand with Tottenham winning tonight. The channel has finally surpassed 15,000 subscribers, something I never dreamed was possible. You know, 5,000 I thought maybe max when I started. Someone said that's big-headed, Dave, but you know, I never thought it would ever really get to this level. So I want to say a massive thank you to every person out there. It's absolutely insane. Thank you so much on behalf of myself and Jack. But me and Jack can sit back and, you know, maybe gloat about that later on or something. But we'll carry on with the discussion here today. Guys, ever since that Chelsea game last year, and it's a big talking point in the fan base over the last while, Big Ange has come in for a lot of criticism from fans, pundits, for his tactics, with some going as far as saying he is tactically naive. Now, I would argue can't be that naive if he finished fifth. What are all the other 15 managers behind him then? But should Big Ange take the criticisms into account and make tactical tweaks to make us harder to beat? Or should he stay true to his vision and persist, which some people may label as stubborn, like they did under Conte and Jose? We'll start with you on this one, Soren.
I look at it this way. If Ange fails, he gets sacked. So he should play his way. Now, that doesn't mean that he shouldn't be able to adapt, you know, within the game or within game to game. But if his philosophy is to all-out attack, then that's, you know, he's either going to live or die upon that sword. So if we're asking him to be our manager, we've got to believe in him. There's a reason we've asked for him. And look, if he's all out, he's all out. I, for one, don't get me wrong, there were some really poor games last season, but I enjoyed a lot of the football last year. You know, I was more excited about my team last year than I was for the previous 2 years. So that's just me. I know a lot of people don't like that, you know, and a lot of people don't like the end-to-end stuff. A lot of people don't like the vulnerability that we've got. I love it. As long as we win, I love it. You know, I don't care if they score against us and we don't keep a clean sheet, as long as we score more than them. And watching the team play like they did last season, yeah, you know, we were pulling our hair out. We were all shouting, you know, for change and things like this. But at the end of the day, it's his job. You know, if he fails, then he loses his job. We don't. We sit here and moan about the next manager and the next manager and the next manager. So, you know, if Ange is stubborn, well, that's how some of the best managers are. They're stubborn. You know, if Pep Guardiola was managing us and he was stubborn and we was losing, who are we to tell him that is wrong? I mean, the only difference is that Ange hasn't won the things Pep has. So, you know, if Ange had won a lot, and we wouldn't be questioning him anymore.
Can I ask you though, Soren? Are we at a point now, because we've questioned, look, many people questioned Pochettino before he went on to do what he done.
Yeah.
Questioned Jose, questioned Conte. Do we maybe have to change our thinking and actually maybe just start embracing the philosophy and the style and the tactics of the manager a bit more, rather than actually constantly asking them to make adaptations? Because I'll be brutally honest, right? I'm a bit fed up of it. You know, under Conte and Jose, we wanted them to be more attacking, but they were never, ever going to do that. Now, under Ange Postecoglou, we want them to be more defensive, and he's never going to do it.
You look at it, I mean, I know it's a slightly different squad, but you look at it under Conte, and we were all shouting out, oh, go to a back four, go to a back four. We've now gone to a back four, and go to a back three, go to a back three. You know, and it's like, well, we're never happy. you know, we can look at each game and think, I mean, I said it season before, you know, we were getting overrun in midfield. We need 3 in there, not 2. We've now got 3 in there at the expense of a back 3. So we've got a back 4 instead. And it's like, no, we need to change it. Well, so if we pull the player out of midfield and put him in defence, we're going to get overrun in midfield again. So look, it doesn't matter how we do it. But I think you said 5 minutes ago, 10 minutes ago, we finished 5th. We were the 5th best team in the league. It doesn't matter how you look at it. Over a season, we were the 5th best team. We could have been 6th or 7th very easily. We could have been 3rd or 4th very easily. Yeah. So, you know, we weren't far away from it last season. A few results went against us and a few results went for us. Would I want to change anything? The only thing I want to see change is some more in-game changes. That's what I would like to see. You know, when we are 3-0 down, you don't wait till 80th minute to bring on some more attacking players. You don't bring on a defender instead of an attacker. These are the things that I would like to see, but I'm not the manager. Ange Postecoglou is our manager, and for me, we have to get behind him.
No, look, I'm of that opinion as well, but obviously I'm more of that opinion because I like the way he plays his football and stuff, to be honest with you. But Jack, we were sort of having this discussion yesterday about over on TIFO when we do the watch-alongs for other games, any other game, Bad Spurs games over there, about game management. You know, Jordan put in a comment here, says there does have to be an element of control to what we're doing. Do you agree with that, Jack?
Yes, and I think that would be that fine line between asking the manager to uproot his principles and uproot his style of play versus asking him to make tweaks. And a manager should be able to make tweaks to whatever ends up going wrong. Like, I think Ange has come into some problems, you know, from last season where he did have certain games where they were exposing maybe where the fullbacks were, or they were exposing how poor we were from set pieces. And I don't think that, you know, requires a manager to completely just scratch away and throw away everything that he believes in. It does require him to look at things slightly differently or come up with a tweaker or two to his system or to how he wants to play. But it doesn't mean you have to just scrap up everything. I think with Ange as well, like, you know, you look at that Chelsea game, I think we have to still remember how that game went. Like, we had a catalog of injuries happening in front of us. We could have left an ambulance on the pitch. We probably should have, because that's how many injuries were happening. And then we also were down to 9 men. You can't win a football match against a club like Chelsea with 9 men.
We nearly did.
And we nearly did. And that's what I think actually people forgot, is that normally when you're in that situation, you are practically just, you know, looking, you know, for 90 minutes to go up and you're expecting to lose. Even when Jurgen Klopp went down to 10 men against us, they were under the cosh from us. They were just waiting for that 90th minute goal to happen. They were actually lucky that they held on, I think, as long as they did, because they had no hope of trying to score a goal. They just had Mo Salah playing up top, and they just get it launched to him every single time, and it was doing nothing for them. I actually enjoyed the way that Ange, you know, went about that sort of situation against Chelsea. It actually kind of made me think about football a bit differently after that game, that, wait a minute, you actually can technically still try to push for goals and still try to score with 9 men. And it made me think about things differently. Whereas other managers, what they would do is they would just put every man behind the ball and just suffer the pressure. But you usually still lose that way. Like, it was kind of a lose-lose situation no matter what. And I think Spurs did come out the victors. And also, let's remind ourselves, Chelsea looked pretty rattled by it for like a long period of that game. They took a while for them to figure out. I mean, Pochettino was almost running onto the pitch himself to, you know, tell every player where to stand, where to make the runs and everything. They did not know how to deal with it. So Ange, in a way, is a trailblazer. He did kind of do something differently that managers in the past have done. Football is always ever changing. There's always new styles. There's always new ways of looking at things. There are guys who invent, you know, new types of positions or new different sort of play styles. You even saw it with like the possession era, where like Spanish teams were just dominating everyone with that possession-based football. Then all of a sudden you saw like Jurgen Klopp and, you know, I think it was Jupp Heynckes for Bayern, you know, completely wreck them in that 2012 through 2015 period. And all of a sudden the Spanish possession kind of era went to an end, right? And so it's always ever changing. And I think in order for Ange to kind of keep his job, he needs to make tweaks, right? He can't just stay that stubborn, but he also shouldn't give up everything entirely, because he has created a style of play that is unique to him and will cause people to think about the game differently. And I think he might even be at the end a trailblazer for the way that he has, kind of gone for this kind of really rampant, really fast-paced style of play where players are only taking almost less than a second to receive the ball and then give it away to somebody else. It's really fast-paced, it's really entertaining, and it does require, excellent energy levels, really high tempo. And I really enjoy it. Personally, I'm more of a defensive guy myself, but that doesn't mean that I'm right with how I view football. I just think that there are different types of preferences to what you would like to see technically. And so I just think Ange has to stay with what he believes in, but then also at the same time, make tweaks here and there so at least he can stay in a job for the most part. But to say that there's one right way to play versus a wrong way to play, I just think is ludicrous, because for the entire existence of football, we've seen things always changing, new guys coming up with new ideas of how to look at the game differently. Even Ralph Rangnick, someone at one point in time basically invented that sort of high intensity pressing that Ange Postecoglou to a degree is using now. It's all about, the different styles of play and the different principles, and some are good, some are maybe, preferential to certain teams versus other teams. But I don't know. I think Ange should stick with his style of play. But yes, he does have to make tweaks to, I think, set pieces and maybe the way that the fullbacks get exposed, etc. But that doesn't mean that he's a bad manager or that he can't do that. I think it's sometimes a bit crazy the way that people look at that Chelsea game, as if Chelsea weren't being exposed for almost 70 minutes of that game. And also, if we had 11 men on the pitch, we would have wrecked them. It would have been a 4 or 5-0 win. So I think Ange, should stick with what he's been doing.
The thing is now, though, Jack, I agree with everything you just said. But if we look at last season, he had a set of players that didn't necessarily all suit his system.
Yeah.
Now, in theory, hopefully these youngsters should suit his system more, and the players that we've got in. So hopefully we should see a slightly better version of what he wanted. Now, that Chelsea game that you talk about, everybody says, you can't have enjoyed that game. We lost 4-1 or 4-2, whatever it was now. I thought that was about the best game of the season, because it showed that Ange wanted them players to carry on playing like that no matter what, and they did. They believed in his system, and that's what Ange is wanting. He's wanting the players to think, doesn't matter what happens, we are going to keep playing this system until we believe in it. And that was the good thing. Now, look, we lost, and we all felt shit afterwards, but I, for one, came out of that game and thought, do you know what? This is a Tottenham team that played until the last minute. They tried till the last minute. And that, to me, is the Tottenham I want to see. I want to see my team, when they're losing, trying to still come back and win. Not just saying, oh, well, we've lost, let's capitulate and we're just going to lose, whatever. That team showed some heart and some spirit. And that's what we've missed for a long, long, long time.
I actually... Yeah. Oh, go on, Jack.
No, I was going to say, if Conte or Jose were in that situation with 9 men, we would have still lost that game. So it's just the way that Ange went about it really opened up my mind to how you can, play a certain style or a certain brand of football. And it's just, I don't know. I think people really looked at that Chelsea game as if he got tactically exposed. And I just don't think he did at all. I think he actually proved, some people wrong in that game. I think it's the opposite.
But at that Chelsea game, I think people forget we had chances, to get back into that game before Chelsea really pulled away, So we were actually close enough to pulling off a result that night. It was only really an injury time. And when we had to bring in the likes of Eric Dyer and people like that, it really fell off a cliff. But look, football is heading into a progressive era where a lot of the new managers, even off the ranks now, they're all trying to play this progressive style of football. And it is a trade-off you make. You will leave yourself a bit more open at the back, but I agree that Ange Postecoglou should stick to his style and his principles and, his philosophy. I do think, though, there are tactical tweaks he can make within that won't actually subtract from what he's trying to do, but actually make us a bit more defensive solidity. And Ange is old school. For me, I think if you have a really good defensive-minded number 6 in there, I think it would solve the issue of being so exposed on the counter-attack because he's so defensive-minded. When you look at Bissouma, often when we're camping teams at opposition half for quite some time, Bissouma will vacate that position. And times last season, he got caught being lazy on the track back. If you have a guy that truly loves that CDM role, He won't get caught like that. I think that would solve a problem. I think if he cleaned up the set pieces and we were a lot more competitive from there, I don't think his system would get spoke about in the manner it does. And I think people would actually look at it a lot differently. Because when we got off to that start, everybody was saying, who's this guy? He's completely transcending football, But I think when you look at the squad, I think the squad ultimately is what let him down. We had crossovers from managers in years gone by where they're more defensive sort of orientated. They don't have the technical ability to be able to handle the ball. And when they came in, it really fell off a cliff. And whether people like it or not, it has a detrimental impact for when your better players come back, because where they've left the team, they were 10 games unbeaten, absolutely flying. They hand it over to their teammates and say, right, take us on a little bit. By the time they come back, they're fighting for absolutely nothing, and it's demotivating, So I think all them elements you have to take into consideration. I actually like Ange Postecoglou's system. I like what he done against Chelsea. What's the point of sitting back and accepting defeat? Or you can actually go and try and do something about it, whether it pays off or not. At least you went and tried and done something about it. So hopefully he does that.
I mean, look. For me, Ange will evolve. He will managers evolve in the Premier League, so he would learn from last season, and he would learn where can I improve, what can I have done better. But on the other hand, all stubborn managers are successful. Bill Nick was a stubborn man, was successful. Keith Birkinshaw was a stubborn man, was successful. Alex Ferguson was the most stubbornest of them all, successful. Bob Paisley, all the great managers, Brian Clough, were all stubborn men. All, you do it my way, if not, you're at the club. All successful men. So all successful managers have this bit of stubbornness, but they also have a knack of evolving. Ange will evolve. It's his first year in the Premier League. And that Chelsea game, you lads have talked about it, it's the game that I got my Spurs back. I've said to you two, Jack and Dave, many times on fan shows, I've lost my Tottenham. My Tottenham's gone. I got my Spurs back that night. And it was great to see. We could have won it. I think we hit the crossbar at one point from an Eric Dyer header of all bloody people. But
I think it was actually, was it ruled out offside goal or something like that, maybe?
Yeah, it was something like that. I can't remember.
Dyer
Of all
scored,
people, by the way. Of all people, I would have loved you to celebrate that one, Dave.
I think we only would have been one goal down, or that would have been an equalizer or something.
No, we would have.
If he had
we would have been an equalizer. Yeah. But all great managers will evolve. Ange will evolve in the Premier League, but he's got that winning touch. He's got that what all these great managers have, which is stubbornness. You wouldn't see Alex Ferguson changing on his principles. You wouldn't see Bill Nick do it. You wouldn't see Keith Birkinshaw do it. You wouldn't see Brian Clough change his principles. Sometimes they can be too stubborn for their own good. And sometimes you can go too far. But I think Ange is that manager where, okay, I'll take on what I've done well, what mistakes I've made, I will involve, but I'm going away from my attacking principles, and nor should he. It's the Tottenham way. It's how we play. He's linked into our DNA. Let's not change a manager that's playing the football we want to see our team play. Do we want to go back to a Mourinho or Conte or managers before that? No. And we were complaining then. And we're still complaining now. Enjoy what we've got, because we won't always have Ange. Once he's gone and another manager comes in, like Poch, we'll be going back, oh, do you remember the Ange times, the way we were playing? And we're doing that with the Poch era. We've been saying this about the Ange era in years ahead. So leave the man to do what he does best, which is manage Tottenham Hotspur, and everything else will look after itself.
Last thing I'll add, and I was saying this to Jack the other day, and then we will move on, is whether it's my dad, whether it's people beyond my dad, whether it's people my age, we love attacking managers. We love managers that play attacking football. If you go from Martin Rowe, Bill Nick, Harry Redknapp, Martin Yole, Pochettino, we're not happy unless we're playing that sort of brand of football. And I think, you can't really overlook that. When we have defensive managers in this club, we chase them out. Wande Ramos, he delivered us a trophy. We chased them out, because of the defensive football. Okay, maybe being bottom of the Premier League a couple of games into the season probably had something to do with it as well. But we chased them out. We will not tolerate defensive football as soon as it's not yielding results. So, I think when we get attacking managers in here, we should maybe learn to embrace it a bit more and stop asking them to go, a lot more defensive. But like I said earlier on, he can still keep his principles and everything else, but he can make little tactical tweaks within that to maybe solidify it. At Celtic, it worked because he had the best squad, the best players to work with. At Tottenham, he's trying to make us the best. So there is going to have to be some elements of tweaks to help us, make that gap. Or maybe bringing a Munster 6 like he hasn't used at other clubs in seasons gone by. And lastly, just quickly, I understand there's no Mikey Moore or Will Lancashire in the squad tonight. Squads will be out in the next, 35, 40 minutes. But I understand there is no Will Lancashire or Mikey Moore with the squad tonight. Shem Tom says, congrats on 15K, Jack and Dave. Well deserved. Come on, you Spurs.
Thank you, Shem.
Absolutely, my man. I really appreciate it. Jack, you can have your quick say on it, my man.
No, thank you for the 15K, Shemtan. It's been, a journey with Dave. It has been wonderful. And now it feels like all of a sudden, this community is just really, really, really growing. And, there are practically 800 people watching us right now and only 200 likes as well. If you guys can, we don't ask that often, but if you guys could get maybe to close to half, I think we'd be very thankful for it. And just very thankful for people like Shem who've supported us along this journey and haven't gotten sick of us by this stage, like I like to say, because I think plenty of times we can talk a lot of waffle. Plenty of times we can be maybe too passionate sometimes. In some cases, we might not be saying exactly what you want to hear, but it seems like people have still enjoyed us and people still have supported us throughout this. And I just want to say it's been a fun roller coaster with you, Shem. Thank you so much. And it feels good to hit 15K. And we're only in the beginning of the season as well. So thank you so much, sir. Really appreciate your support. And thanks for following us over to TIFO as well. You've been very big over there. So thank you, Shem.
No, it's an absolute milestone. Honestly, I never thought people would back a little fat Irish leprechaun like me who can't speak properly. But hey ho, I really appreciate it, my man. Absolute legend. We've got El Dante in the house as well, new YouTube member. Welcome to the community, my man, the ever-growing community. Hopefully you enjoy yourself around here. Like I said to other people, we've got so much content that we do for members only and stuff like that as well. So El Dante, really appreciate it. But I'm pretty sure you remember last season. I think you're just maybe regaining it back. But big up El Dante. Great name, by the way. That's the way I like my pasta. El Dante. Great food joke. Anyway, Shawnee Maddox, really appreciate the support as well. Says, congrats on 15K. Which player do you all expect to surprise us this season? Positively, of course. It is going to be positive. Look, we'll start with you on this one, Dermotron.
I'm looking forward to seeing Archie Gray and Bergville develop, how they got on. I'm really I was speaking to Philip about it and the other day, and we both sort of said he reminds us of a very, very young Glenn Hoddle. A very young Glenn Hoddle, like at the start of his career. But I'm looking for them to, of course, Johnson, I'm looking for him to improve. Hope he does. But yeah, Archie Gray and Bergville, I'm really looking forward to seeing them play, and Mikey Moore as well. I'm looking forward to see how well he does. But look, I think we've got a great squad. I really do. I think we've got a great balance in that squad as well. And I think that's great. And there's great harmony in there. There seems to be a togetherness. So I think that as well, I'm looking forward to see how well this squad develops over the season. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that, sure. But yeah, congrats again on 15K, guys. Really richly deserved.
Nah, appreciate it, my man. I have so many messages to send around later on tonight. My night's just got busier. But big up Shawnee Maddox. So Darmos took two there. He's being greedy. He's leaving none for the rest of us. Soren, what player do you think will surprise a lot of us this season? 2J, stay tuned for mine, by the way. Don't go anywhere, 2J. But Soren, sorry, down to you. Who do you think is going to be our most improved?
Necessarily whether it's going to be most improved. I think Solanke will do quite well, but I think the two youngsters that we've got in midfield, Bergvall and Gray, I think, I'd be surprised if they don't. I think they're going to be revelations. I think Gray is far better than what a lot of our fan base seem to think he is. He had a quieter one against Bayern Munich, but bloody hell, he's a young lad playing against one of the top teams in Europe. You can't slate him for that. So I think the two to watch out for is going to be Bergvall and Gray. I think they're going to have a fantastic season. The new lad, Odebear, he could have a whopper of a season. I just think the the midfield, you know, the players that we've already got, none of them are really going to surprise us if they play well, or you know, because that's what we expect from them. So I think the two midfield youngsters, or the three youngsters that we've got in, they're the ones to watch. Solanke he'll be hopefully a 20+ goals season. So yeah, I just think it's the youngsters. The youngsters are going to be the ones to watch.
Yeah, I'm sort of in a similar boat. I had Mikey Moore as my original prediction for kind of the surprise of the season, because I don't think many people outside of Spurs even know much about him or probably have ever even heard of him. And the fact that he has pushed already certain players for their spot this season has looked even better than certain guys in their spot this season, you know, during the preseason. I think that means that Mikey Moore will probably end up being one of the big surprises for just the football world in general. He kind of is our Lamine Yamal, like to some degree, or at least to some level, because he does look to be very confident. He looks to have no problem playing at this sort of level, despite his size and his lack of experience. And I think he'll probably end up showing up a lot of people, you know, eventually when he gets his chances. You could also maybe argue Solanke, because he's a very divisive signing. And if he ends up getting to the heights of 20 goals, like some people predict, that could also be technically a surprise this season, because he's been a very divisive signing.
Interesting. Well, I'm going to go for a player that's been around for a couple of years now. I'm going to go for Dejan Kulusevski. A lot of people are sleeping on him. A lot of people have questioned his ability. You know, where does he fit in the Ange system? But I think he surprised many people this preseason, whether it's been in Cam, whether it's been up front. This guy has done a job for us. Last season, he's done a job for us in midfield. When he first came in, he helped us get Champions League off the right-hand side. This guy's football IQ and understanding of positions and the game is absolutely immense. And I think this is going to be the year he really breaks out and shows Spurs fans how good he is. He looks mean, he looks lean, and he looks like a goal-scoring machine. So hopefully we see that from Kulusevski this season. So that's who I'm going to go with, Shawnee Maddox, on that. So big up, Shawnee. Really, really do appreciate the support, brother. We've got Faz Radfar 3-1 Spurs says, should a system fit to players or players fit to system? Look, this is a hard one, because you look at the scouting model that Brighton have brought into the game, that obviously Tottenham have copied, Brentford have copied to a degree. That scouting model is designed for the club to have a certain way they want to play the football. You bring in players to suit that system, and then also bring in managers to suit the way they want the football played. There's always going to be, you know, you're going to have to get certain types of players that can do certain types of things to adapt in certain positions for this manager to help his system flourish. But that's the whole idea of this scouting department. So even if Ange Postecoglou, you know, hopefully leaves after winning trophies, if we get the next guy off the rank, a bit like what Brighton do, he's got to play a certain style of football. And that's the way this modern day scouting networks are set up. And especially when clubs are spending the money they can't afford to back every single manager they bring in the door now with 200-300 million every single window to give them everything they need. So I think in modern day football, this is the way it's going to be more and more going forward. You won't see much drastic changes from a defensive style to a more attacking style and stuff like that. I do believe this is the way the football is going to go. But there has to be a bit of both. You do have to bring in certain players for the manager in certain positions to be able to help the system flourish. But mainly now you're bringing in players to suit the way the club want to play, and you're bringing the manager then to adapt to that. Faz Radfar, big up, my man, and really appreciate support. Hopefully you enjoyed that answer. I think I knocked it out the park. We've got 2J here as well. We'll give this to you, Soren, and then we'll let you say your goodbyes, because he does have to get back out and help feed the nation. So he says, if Johnson was on the right wing, Son on the left, and Solanke a striker, would you rather see Maddison or Kulu behind Solanke? First of all, 2J, I'm surprised. I didn't think you were a big fan of Kulusevski. So now that you're putting him in there in the starting lineup, I'm glad we've made progress with you on the Kulusevski love. But Soren, who do you play behind that front three tonight?
My preference is Maddison, on the presumption he's on form. If he's not on form, Kulu. But I think, just to kind of disagree a little bit with you, but agree on with you as well, Davies, it wouldn't surprise me if Kulu's a revelation this year. That's the thing. I think with Kulu, we're expecting it. So it's not a surprise. But if Maddison's on form, I want to see Maddison behind them, because I think he can unlock teams, and I think he's a class act when he plays. if you go back to those first 10 games of last season, Maddison was on fire. You know, he was so fast with his feet. He was seeing passes that a lot of other players wouldn't see, and Kulu wouldn't see it. Kulu brings something different, and I like Kulu, but I would rather see Kulu on the right, but make him go down to the byline at some points as well, because I think Kulu does suit the wing, but I just think he needs to be able to go down rather than cutting in all the time.
Yeah.
But with that, I am going to have to go, and I'm going to say it's going to be 3-1 tonight, and we're going to look fairly comfortable.
And sorry, just before you go, you do have a channel that's dedicated to all great things about gin. If there's any gin lovers in there,
gin? It's not bloody gin.
What is it? Alcohol, whiskey. Sorry, same thing to me. I don't drink, so it's the same thing. It's a spirit.
Yeah, no, it's whiskey, and yeah, I haven't done anything for a long time. I'm sort of more into the football, but yeah, I can't even remember what the channel's called. So I think it's OCD Whiskey. Same as my Twitter handle isn't that anymore, is it? So things change. So yeah, look, the football's the most important. We're gonna thump them tonight, and we are gonna win the league. Come on.
Whiskey will be flowing.
Yeah, if not, there'll be a lot of whiskey being drunk this year. Don't worry.
Hopefully more in celebration than trying to cope with the pain, Soren.
I hope it is that way. But yeah, so come on, you Spurs.
Come on, you Spurs.
Big up, Soren.
Really appreciate it. Everyone give Soren a lot of love in the comments. I will drop that challenge in there if there is any enthusiasts about the great spirits that Soren likes. So I will drop that in there for you guys. Jack, let's answer 2J here as well. If Johnson was on the right wing, again, who would you want to see in that sort of creative role, feeding Dominic Solanke? Do you want Maddison in there? Do you want Kulu off his preseason form? Or even Bergvall tonight?
If I were basing it off of merit, 2J, I wouldn't give it to Maddison, but I have already technically answered this in a previous video where I did say, like, I've given my criticism of Maddison. I'm giving Maddison a very short leash and a very little amount of time to prove me wrong or to basically come back into form. But I do feel like since it is a new season, he is coming up against his old club. I'm going to give him this first couple of games, basically, to see if he can get back to fit and firing form like he was in the beginning of the last season. And if he doesn't, then I will consider probably Kulu or Bergvall instead of him behind the strikers. My midfield for this game, ideally, is going to be Bentancur number 6, Bergvall in the number 8, because I don't think we need technically a Pop Matasar in a game like this one, and then Maddison playing as the number 10. I think it'd be cool to see Bergvall and Maddison both playing together. But with Maddison, for me, I'm just going to hold my tongue. I've given my criticism. I'm going to see if he can prove me wrong in these next couple of games. But yeah, he has a very short amount of time to do that because there's already very good players who've been playing well, like Kulusevski, like Bergvall, who probably should be playing there based on merit for right now.
Absolutely spot on. Absolutely spot on. Big up, 2J. Great to see you back around. Hopefully you're enjoying your life out there, in the Mediterranean, out there in Europe. Hopefully you're having fun. Nice sunshine, your time of year. And great to have you back, 2J. Big yourself up. And I do keep an eye in on your channel. I don't know if you notice when you're live, when I see you live, I do pop in with a Kulusevski comment every now and again. I'm almost sure you see it because I do see a smile on your face just right after. So big up, 2J. Great to see you. And anyone who doesn't know who 2J is, he's got an absolute massive channel. He's a comedian, a gamer, lots of different things. So get over there and check it out. We'll come back to you with another one, Dermo. Envy Joker Davies, big up, my man. Really appreciate this, Eddie the Eagle. He says 15K is crazy, lads. I'm here for a long time, just like Ange. Also, why Moore and Will isn't a part of the squad. Really appreciate that, Eddie, and it's great to have you on board. You've been an absolute brilliant for us over on Tifo, my man. And a great addition to the fan shows as well. No, yes. I don't know why they're not on board. I just presume, we've only really got Basuma out today because we suspended him. So we have a full squad to pick from. And I do think there has to be a bit of, with these youngsters, their opportunities will come October, November, December, January, when the games come thick and fast. It's absolutely relentless. You will see, with injury, suspensions, rotations, you will see these guys. It's just because it's first game, everybody's available. We've got a large squad now. And I think that's probably why. But I will also add, there is a cup game tomorrow night for the under-21s against Bristol Rovers in the Football League Cup, which I will be doing a watch-along for, guys. So hopefully you can join me back for that. they might play in that and hopefully help us get over the line in that game. And it's against Bristol Rovers senior team. It's not like they're under 23s, right? And so it'd be good experience for them. Maybe another pre-season game, but maybe something to keep an eye on, Eddie. Big yourself up, my man, and really appreciate the support,
Thank
sir.
you, Eddie.
And then we have this from Kay. Great to see you back as well, Kay. Dermo, he says, I don't doubt we'll win today. Decent window at least. And he says to us, you lads deserve all the success which comes to you. Congratulations.
Thank you, Kay.
Really appreciate that, my man. Like I said, you know, me and Jack, we do work hard. We do try to make improvements every season and stuff. We never really thought it was going to get like this. It's gone absolutely helter-skelter. So it's absolutely madness. It's living in a bubble, living in a dream, to be honest with you, Kay. Dermo, he says he doesn't doubt we're going to get the win today. Do you share that confidence?
Yeah, I think, we will win today. I think our last four games against Leicester, 3 wins and one defeat. Spurs have won 3. Leicester have got 1 of the last 4. So we should win today. We should win quite easily. They're a promoted side. We should have a bit too much for them, but this is football. This is football. I mean, you don't know what's going to happen, but look, we should win. I don't think we're down. And it has been a decent window. It's been a good window in a way. It's been a window where we can, and it's not over yet. And I've just got something at the bottom of my waters that something big's coming in. Something big is coming in. And I know a little birdie's told me something. I can't say anything yet because I'm waiting for it to be confirmed. But if it's right, oh my Lord, are we going to be singing from the hymn? Will we be singing from the top of all the churches? It's something going to be good coming in.
Hopefully it begins in E and ends in E. That'll be absolutely fantastic.
You're nearly there.
Yeah, that would be nice. That would be nice.
Yeah.
By the way, he got a disallowed goal yesterday. It was absolutely shocking. What a free kick by the guy. Not sure deep down in your waters quite adds up there, Dermo, but I do get what you're saying. Maybe gut is a better word.
That's what I meant to say. My God, sorry. It's just been one of those days. Everything's just gone out for me. Sorry.
Yeah, you never know. I suppose you can if you want to be. But look, guys, let's keep it moving. Let's start getting into the lineups. Let's talk about certain positions, guys. If there's anything you think you want us to address, put it in the comment section. We'll do our best to get to it. But guys, Jack, we'll start with you. Yves Bissouma posted footage of himself inhaling laughing gas from a balloon on Snapchat. He actually ratted himself out. It's not like someone else took it, leading to him being suspended for tonight's season opener against Leicester. What message do you think Postecoglou is trying to send to the rest of the squad by suspending Bissouma for his behaviour?
I think he had to do it. I think the message should be clear that no matter if you're liked by Ange, if you're because I think Bissouma is kind of one of those guys that Ange kind of has a real soft spot for and seems to really have a liking towards, but you do have to be that disciplinarian anytime that these situations do arise. And I think Ange has handled it well, where he has punished Bissouma. He has shown him that you can't do something like this and just expect to get your spot in the squad still. You will have to take time away. He said even he has to take some education courses as well, which I think is actually, the right move as well. Not just a slap on the wrist type of fine, right? Also make him have to learn, from these mistakes with whatever education they need to give him. But it's also not the worst thing in the world that's ever happened. Like, there are plenty of footballers who've gotten away with a lot worse with these type of situations. And I think he's been given the proper punishment where it's kind of being dealt with in-house. And then it's also still being addressed at least somewhat publicly to the fans and to the media, so that they are well aware that he is being punished. But they've also maintained that, listen, like, it's a mistake. He's allowed to make a mistake. He's going to hopefully learn from this mistake. And then that's all we can really kind of bet on, is that, Bissouma will become a better person and he'll learn from this moment. And I think Ange has almost everything he has said word for word, I think is absolutely perfect, because he basically has made it out that Bissouma, should be guilty or should be, feel guilty or should feel bad for this type of mistake. But he also isn't an evil person or anything like that, or, isn't a complete, kind of terrible player or terrible person after this sort of mistake. He's just been given, the time away to learn from this. And I think that's the right approach. And, Spurs haven't, made a huge deal of it, which I think is necessary, because I'd argue that there were technically worse things that have happened, when in Spurs' past, even over the summer with Bentancur, I think was technically worse than what Bissouma has done. And I think they actually dealt with this Bissouma situation better than they have with other ones. So I think they've done it properly. And I look forward to seeing, Bissouma hopefully come out a better person and a better player.
No, 100%. And look, he's not going to be the first footballer to be caught up in something like this, nor is he going to be the last. You just hope that he learns from it. What I will say is I think the club are 100% right. You know, they expect these guys to live their life right off the pitch, to be in optimal shape, to be able to perform on the pitch, considering the amount of money they invest in them in terms of, you know, the wages they provide these guys, signing on fees, the money they pump into the training ground for all the latest, you know, techniques and everything else, the money they pump into the healing side if they suffer injuries and stuff like that. And you know, some might even link the party lifestyle to why his performances aren't there consistently and stuff like that. And I just think for Basuma's sake, if he really wants to drag every ounce of potential and ability that this guy has in him, I would urge him just to concentrate on the football. You know, he got himself in hot water at Brighton because of his party lifestyle. You don't want to be continuing that on in London. You know, and if it continues, the club will slip him out very, very quickly. Do I think he needs to be sold now? No, I think we should hold on to him. I think, you know, for the rest of this season. But I do think he's got a massive point to prove this season. If he doesn't prove it, I think he should be sold in the summer. You know, and I'm a big Basuma fan, by the way. I don't think he's as bad or as useless, you know, as many people make him out to be or think he is. But that sort of behavior when you're trying to push for trophies and trying to go and win something and you've got a lot of youngsters around you, you need to be setting a better example. And hopefully with age comes experience and a bit more know-how, and hopefully he learns that off the back of this.
I mean, look, everyone's allowed to make mistakes. Everyone makes mistakes in life.
Except
everyone's allowed redemption. Pardon?
Except for Dyer.
Yeah, he's just a walking mistake. He's just he's not. I don't know what it is. He was made in some warfare sort of test tube miracle that went badly wrong, but let's not even go there. I think everyone's entitled to a mistake, and everyone's entitled to a redemption as well. Is he going to learn from it? Is he going to prove to Ranch that, look, I am willing to make up for my mistakes? I am. That was, I'm not saying. Can he prove to Ranch, I apologize, I'm sorry, I will make it up to you? Does he put it right in training? I think a one-match ban is fine. I think Ange then has to see, does he earn his spot back? Now, if whoever plays in midfield, if it works tonight, then keep. The same for Everton. But I do agree with you. He had problems at Brighton. It's now problems at Tottenham. Does Ange want that in his dressing room? Does Ange want the disruption of this? He could have done without the disruption of what Basuma did. Look, these youngsters are on a lot of money. We don't know what we would do if we're on their kind of money. We don't know that. And anyone that says, well, I wouldn't do that, I don't think it's being true to themselves, because we don't know what we would do on that sort of money. And all the hangers on, he could have been out for a night out, had too much to drink. Oh, try this, lad. This is good stuff. And somebody could be videoing it. You don't know. Everyone's trying to set a trap for everyone when you're famous. And I think Ange needs to, Basuma needs to take a look at what privilege he's got. He's got a privileged life. He's a footballer. He gets the best of everything. It's a short career. Don't blow it, because many great players have blown it in the past. Yeah. Many great players have George Best, Paul Gascoigne, players like that, all geniuses have blown it. Look at who's the fella that went from Man United to Italy, got banned for 4 years? The French player, Pogba. Another one that's blown it. Do you know what I mean? Biss, don't blow it. Show us what you can do. He has been inconsistent since Luton, and maybe that has got something to do with it. Learn from it, come back and prove who you are. Prove you're a good player, because we know you are a good player. Come back, and redemption everyone deserves redemption. And I think he will get his redemption, but he's got to earn the right for it, though. And that's the thing. Spot
on. So, guys, who do we think is going to fill in that vacant position left by Basuma then today? There's a lot of people want Archie Gray. A lot of people are saying bring Bentancur in. Jack, who do you want to see in that number 6 role today?
I just don't know if Archie Gray is technically ready yet to start the first game of the season in the number 6 role. I think eventually he will be.
Is Bentancur fit enough, though?
It's the risk I think I'd be willing to take, because he did play in the Copa America. All he really needed probably was just a rest, to be honest, because he had played for a lot last season, but then he also was coming back from injury. And then he had that time during the summer to, get, some minutes into his legs in the Copa America. he probably just took, some time off after that to get his body right, also to get his mind right. I don't think he handled himself too well, for the most part over that summer. But I do hope that he comes into this team looking at that spot and the number 6 role is a really good opportunity for him to take his starting role back. He lost it to Basuma. He lost it to Pop Matasar. And I think if Bentancur is motivated and is feeling kind of, strong about his ability, then I think he should be able to take that number 6 role for the next few games here. And if he can get back to his very best, then we'll be very grateful for it, because at one point or another, before that big injury that he had during, I think, the World Cup, right, in Qatar, I think Bentancur was looking like one of the best informed midfielders practically in Europe. He was doing everything from winning tackles to carrying his team up the pitch to, silky play to scoring goals. He was immense under an Antonio Conte. And at one point or another, when he came back from that injury before he got injured again, he looked immense in a brief spell against Aston Villa. So we know there's a brilliant player in there. And I think he can play that number 6 role pretty well. He's not perfect for it, but I think he can do it very well and serviceable enough. He knows how to receive it under pressure. He knows how to win a tackle. He's very fierce as well. So he can probably inspire others to, not drop their levels or drop their intensity. So I'm going to give it to Bentancur and hope that he can take advantage of this, opportunity that Basuma has given him.
Oh, 100%. And you've already alluded that you do think Maddison will make his return, to the King Power Stadium, since for the first time for, signing for Tottenham Hotspur and leaving there. Who's the other third option in that midfield tonight? Some people want to see Bergvall. Some people are mentioning Kulusevski. I put Sarr in my predicted lineup. I mean, who do you think is going to make that third that third midfielder?
I think he has a lot of confidence in Pop Matasar. I mean, he did so well last season for the majority of the season, so it probably will be Sarr. I just don't know if you necessarily need to have Sarr, starting in this game, because, I mean, Steve Cooper, from when I've watched him, it's like the dark ages of defensive football, where it's just every single man behind the ball defending for their lives. And it's worse than I've seen David Moyes, to be honest, with Steve Cooper. And in that situation, I don't think you really need a defensive-minded number 8. I think you just need another creative player next to someone like a Maddison, so that you can have more than one option in midfield who can score a goal, but can also create something out of nothing for the forward line. And I think Bergvall should be able to do that in the number 8 role. And also Bergvall, I think in a recent interview for Spurs, said that he technically prefers to play the number 8, because he says it allows him to actually have a bit more of a defensive impact than it would, playing in a number 10 role. And we know Maddison prefers the number 10 role. He's coming up against his former side. So I'd say Bergvall playing next to Maddison will have 2 very creative players next to each other. And then Bentancur in a number 6, who can technically also pop up with a goal from a set piece or can go on a mazy run past multiple players and technically score a goal himself. He actually is a better goal scorer than Basuma has ever been, Bentancur. So I'd go for that as my midfield.
Interesting. Well, guys, let us know whether you agree, disagree with Jack. Put your midfield 3 in the comments that you want to see tonight. Dermot, down to you. Who do you think should step in for Basuma and make up the rest of your midfield?
I went in my predicted lineup. I went from Bentancur, Sarr, and Maddison. That was my 3. And I just think Papa Sarr gives us that bit of stability there, and I think you need somebody you can trust. I think Bentancur, we're going to see the best of him. I think last season was very injury hit for him. And I think he came back and then he got another injury. So it was never really a full, do you know what I mean? It wasn't a full season of being fully fit. I think he done well in the Copa America. I think that was like a bit of an early preseason for him. And then he's had the proper preseason. So I think he's really going to be on it. He played well against Bayern Munich, Bentancur. And he looked confident. And I love Bentancur, how he plays. I love the way he can keep the ball. Jack's rightly said he has scored some good goals for us as well. And you can depend on him. He's reliable. He will give us all. And I think Maddison up front look, I would, thinking it now, I probably would have started Bergvall in that 10 role behind Solanke. But with it being Leicester, Maddison probably wanted to play against his old club. I think I would start with Maddison. But if Maddison doesn't perform tonight, and I give him tonight and the first half against Everton. If he doesn't switch it on, I put Bergvall in there then. I really would. Kulu can play there as well. It's a nice headache to have. You can switch it around a little bit. But my 3 will be Bentancur, Sarr, and Maddison tonight to start with. Because I think Sarr's such a good player. You need him in the side. And I love watching Sarr play. He's such a lovely player to watch. But yeah, that's my 3.
Interesting. I sort of picked the same 3, in my predicted lineup, because I more went for what I think Ange Postecoglou will ultimately go with.
Yeah.
In Maddison, Sarr, and Bentancur. The reason why I think he'll go with Bentancur is I think he'll probably go with that experience with Rodrigo Bentancur over Archie Gray, and more so maybe bring Archie Gray off the bench, because, Jack, you were right. In pre-season 1, we're area Archie Gray let him down against the K-League 11 and especially against Bayern Munich was in possession. I think so. On that basis, I think he will go with Bentancur in there tonight. I think, look, this one, he could end up going with Kulu and Maddison. That could be a 2 that he might go with. But I just think he uses Papa Sarr to sort of get up behind that front 3, get pressure on, try and turn ball higher up the pitch. No one else really seems to want it. James Maddison doesn't really do it. And I think Sarr is one of the only midfielders that does that. So I think that's why he might be kept in there. Although I do think Papa Sarr does now have to, this season, grow up a little bit, man up a little bit, show something more to his game, and affect games a little bit more. He's not that young kid anymore that he was last season. He's got that year experience, so he has to bring more to the table if he wants to hang on to his position. And then, unfortunately, look, I think if Postecoglou actually wanted to make a huge statement to some of the senior players to maybe not let them get complacent, and to James Maddison, you drop him tonight heading to Leicester, because everyone's expecting him to play tonight. That's what all the talk is about on the media. Leicester's point of view, Tottenham fans, James Maddison's return. What statement would that send out if he dropped him? Now, of course, you risk losing the player then. You risk alienating him and losing it altogether, because I've no doubt someone like James Maddison wants to play tonight. He's absolutely going to be pumped. He'll want to put on a show and make sure, that he proves he's made the right move. So I do think on that basis, he probably starts tonight. I don't think Postecoglou is going to be that guy that will drop him tonight. But if he doesn't perform, he will drop him very, very quickly. I would love to see Bergwall in there tonight from the off. However, I do think it will be Maddison. Guys, the lineup will be out in just 4 minutes' time. So let's get into the forward line. I mean, let's get straight into it. Up front, the guy that grabs all the headlines. Who's going to start tonight? Richarlison? Or are we going to see a debut from big Dom Solanke? Sorry, just quickly, Shawnee Maddox. Do you guys honestly think Bissouma has been a top 4 caliber player for Spurs other than 10 games last year? Would another player be more consistent? Look, he hasn't. He's been nowhere near that top 4 caliber player. He hasn't even been anywhere near the levels that he reached at Brighton, to be brutally honest with you. He's been way off the standard, way off the level, Shawnee. Under Conte, he couldn't get into the team because he couldn't get a grasp of the tactics and what Conte wanted him to do within that system. Under Ange Postecoglou, he came in. He tried a different approach, not the tough love. He gave him all the love he wanted. He got 10 games out of him and then ultimately let him down. But, we've heard about Bissouma's reputation at Brighton in terms of being out partying. It's also coming to the fore at Tottenham. No player can maintain consistency at that level while partying. Gascoigne couldn't even do it. He had great moments for Tottenham Hotspur in England and stuff like that, but he couldn't do it every single time. There's also a lot of injuries because of the way you live your life and stuff like that, because you're not taking care of your body. If he doesn't cut that out, he's never going to reach that level of consistency that you need over the course of a whole season, Shawnee Maddox. Look, that's why I think this is a massive season for him. I think he's playing for his future at the club this season, but I don't think the club are going to knee-jerk into the market right now and bring in a replacement for Bissouma. Even if they do bring in a Locatelli, what sense does it make selling Bissouma? Keep him around and have that option anyway and see if he's a changed man. If not, sell him to Saudi next summer. Big up Shawnee Maddox, though. Really appreciate the support, my man. But guys, I do want to get in. Jack, Dom Solanke or Richarlison up front for you tonight, my man?
I think it's going to be Solanke. He's fit. He's ready. Technically, he hasn't had as much training, under Postecoglou as I would like, or probably is what Ange would have liked. But he is a guy that I think is going to probably be given more confidence and being given more faith than what Richarlison will be. Richarlison, I just think he's just so fragile at the moment, injury wise, that even now that he's coming back from that injury, I just wouldn't start him because he hasn't had any minutes under his legs in this preseason. Solanke, again, should be healthy for the most part. I wish he got more minutes, to be honest, but it's just with Richarlison, I just think he should come on as maybe a late sub, kitchen sink time or also to relieve Solanke in case Solanke isn't firing, or in case, we're already up by a few goals and you want to start giving minutes to players who really need it. And Richarlison needs minutes. It's just he's so fragile, Dave, that I think we have to treat him as a very special case with his game. He just seems to take a while to come back from injuries. He doesn't really know how to handle his injuries better. He doesn't handle his injuries very well. He seems to either push himself too hard, or he just ends up, kind of exacerbating, the injury or exaggerating it. I just think he needs to be given, kind of a bubble wrap, sort of, treatment basically. And, you ease him into the team again. And I wouldn't start Richarlison. I would start Solanke. And then did you say the rest of the forward line as well, Dave, or we just talking striker?
No, you can give us the rest of your forward line that you want to see.
Okay. Sorry to jump ahead. In the case of a right wing, I'd give it to Kulusevski tonight. That's why I left him out of my midfield. Again, similar logic to what I said about Steve Cooper. Every single player is going to be playing behind the ball. They're going to be playing very, very deep inside their own half, deep inside their own penalty area. There's no space to run in behind. Johnson, he is good at running in behind. He is good at stretching teams that way. It's just that in a game like this, when there is no space at all, you have to rely on more technically gifted players who can find those little openings in those tight areas and can, find a way to create something when there isn't much space at all. And I just don't think Johnson is one of those players, whereas Kulusevski is. Kulusevski, I know he doesn't play, at least last season, that well on the right wing, but I'd argue that this is a better game for Kulusevski on the right wing than it is for a Johnson on the right wing. If it were a more stretch game where a team were trying to press us, they were, trying to play a higher line, I would play Johnson because I think that suits him a bit more. This type of defense of Steve Cooper's, I just don't think suits Johnson very much. And we need a good crosser of the ball, which I don't think Johnson is, to be honest. I don't think he is a good crosser of the ball. He needs space to be able to put in a cross, whereas Kulusevski doesn't. And I think someone like Solanke could actually thrive on that sort of service that Kulu could provide if he is playing well. Granted, if he is playing well on that right wing, where he could cut inside and then whip in kind of one of those kind of in-swinging crosses from the edge of the penalty area. And Solanke might be able to get on the end of it. So I'm going to go with Kulusevski on the right, Sonny on the left, Solanke up top.
Wow. Let's have a look at the lineup, because the lineup is out. Let me run through
Wow, they're
it
doing it 15 minutes early this year? They'll do it instead of an hour early?
Yeah, it's out 75 minutes now before kickoff rather than half an hour early. I'm not sure why, but that's what they've done. But guys, Vicario is in goals. Pedro Porro at right back. Romero and Van de Ven at centre back, with Destiny Udogie at left back. They've gone with my midfield, Sarr, Bentancur, and James Maddison through the middle, and then Johnson on the right, Solanke up front, and Son on the left.
You were spot on, Dave.
Kulusevski dropping to the bench, which I don't really understand. That's really annoying for me, considering how great form he's been in this preseason. But Dom Solanke does make his debut on the bench tonight. We have Brandon Austin, Jed Spence. We also have Ben Davies, Dragusin, Archie Gray, Lucas Bergvall, Dejan Kulusevski, Timo Werner, and Richarlison. So that is the squad there for today's game. Dermot, your initial reactions, and we'll let you.
Yeah, I'm really pleased with that lineup. I was going for Johnson, Solanke, Son myself as my front three. So this was before it came out. That's what I went for in my predicted lineup. I'm really happy with that. I think it's a good lineup. I think it's an exciting lineup. And Solanke tonight for me. I hope he gets a brace, because I'm really excited to see what he can do. Look, Kulu, I know a lot of people are going to be a little bit upset about that. But look, I think you start with Johnson and then you bring Kulu in. I think eventually in the game. But yeah, for me, it's a great lineup. I just really want Johnson to prove tonight what he can do. I just really want him to prove. He had 10 assists last season, the most assists of anyone in that area for Tottenham. I just want him to do well. I want him to show people what he can do and why we bought him. So look, great lineup, and I can't wait for the game now.
Score prediction.
I am going. Do you know what? I know it's 3-0. But I'm going to be delusional, Dermatron, and I want my crown back off Sava. I'm going for 4-0 tonight, 4 or 5-0. Okay. I think if we score early, they'll cave. Leicester will cave in, and I think we'll get 4 or 5 past them. But that's just me being delusional. I want my crown back.
And as always, where can people find you, lad?
There, you can find me on THFC till I die. I'm sorry, I've got to pop off. I'm starting a new show tonight for kickoff, going over the lineup. Then we're doing the watch along, and then at 10:15, I'm doing post-match live after the show to get people's quickest reactions to the match. And then if we've got post-match, pre-match, everything else going over there. We just hit 1,900, and I'm really humbled by that. But we're 99 away from 2K, so I'd love to get to 2K before the international breaks. And again, thanks for having me on, lads. If it wasn't for these two, I'd never be doing what I'm doing now. And I hold these two in so much regard and respect and appreciation for everything they've done for us Spurs community, for you reaching 15K, by the way, lads. And for me personally, you were there for me in dark times and you're there for me in the good times. But from myself and the whole community, we want to say thank you for everything you've done, because you enlighten our days, you enlighten our weeks. In the dark hours, you were there. And, you know, you sprang a lot. Maybe. But I'm just the point I'm making. You sprang so many Spurs channels, so I sprang from this channel. Yeah. Mine and a few others as well. You've given us all our break and all our confidence to do what we love doing. So thank you guys for having me on again. And very, very, again, congratulations. Very well deserved. And I'm really chuffed for you.
No, thank you very much, Dermo. Absolutely great guest. Going to see plenty more of them on these over the course of the season. Make sure you give him a big up. Thank you very much for your time. And get over there, check out the Dermotron's channel, THFC Till I Die. I'm sure we can get 100 over, guys, and smash the subscribe button and help him reach 2K. Surely that would be absolutely brilliant. But Dermo, thank you very much, sir, and we'll speak to you again soon.
Come on, you Spurs.
Come on, you Spurs. In hands we trust. Absolutely love that. Big up, Dermotron. Speak again soon, my man. Absolute legend. So please, guys, please get over. Subscribe to these guys' channels. They do give up their time to come on here and contribute. So if you could do that, we would be very, very grateful. And we've got Dark Sun G in the house, my man. You've got to be absolutely excited right now, right? First game of the season. Start the Premier League tonight, my man. 24-25 campaign kicked off. 4 competitions to go for. Europe back at the lane. I mean, exciting times ahead. Dark Sun G says, look at our bench. This is without Wilson and Bissouma. 100%, you know, we've got impact players off the bench this time rather than last year. Last year, it almost felt like when we were making subs, we were downgrading when we were bringing players in. Now, when you're bringing players in, you've got players that are of similar quality that can all handle the ball technically and should actually make an impact off the bench. And maybe that's one thing Postecoglou's trying to do with Kulu. Keep him hungry, get that impact off the bench tonight, maybe, you know, keep Madison on his toes as well. But you're absolutely spot on in that Dark Sun G. No Mikey Moore, no Will Lancashire either as well. You know, so it does show that we are building a squad, which is good to see. Dark Sun G. Skip gone as well. Now we just need Davies, my man. Big yourself up. Jack, anything you want to say, Dark Sun G?
No, I love the bench, Dark Sun G. I'll be honest, though. Let me know your opinions on this if you have any strong ones. I don't like the lineup graphic from Spurs because the bench, you know, characters, it's so small. Like, you barely even read, you know, the bench names. And then the Kraken, you know, sponsorship is just so big. It's just, I don't know. And I don't like the crest, you know, of the Leicester underneath and the Spurs one there. It's just, I think they've gotten the graphic all wrong this year. And I don't really like it very much. It's really hard to read, even just trying to stretch it, you know, to make it fit for the watch along isn't really that great. I don't even know if I can make it that much better. So to be honest, Dark Sun G, I don't like the lineup graphic. When it comes to the bench, I think it is a lot stronger than it was last season. We have another striker that we can bring on, like Richarlison, you know, to go kitchen sink time if need be. Also to give Solanke a rest if he does need one. And then we have impact subs like Kulusevski off the bench, which could be really good to have. Gray as well. And then you also have someone like Bergvall, who we know is very hungry and has been playing very well and could come on and save us in the second half if that does need to happen at all. So I think there are some really good impact subs to be made. And also Spence, right? We didn't really have much of a backup to Pedro Porro last season. Yes, it was Emerson, but Emerson was very different. Spence is there. So I think that's someone really different to what Emerson was. Emerson was more of a defensive option, and Spence is actually something a bit similar to Pedro Porro, also slightly different, at least stylistically in the way that he likes to play, but he still offers that attacking intent like Pedro Porro does, whereas I don't really think Emerson ever was that sort of player. And so for the most part, it is a stronger bench than it was last season. And you are right. It's even without guys like a Bissouma as well. So very good point.
Big up, Dark Sung G. He also says 4 a.m. kickoff today. Our outgoings are great so far. Look, you got spoiled with preseason, didn't you, Dark Sung G? You know, you can enjoy life, enjoy the nightlife, the games at the right time and stuff. But honestly, I keep saying this to Spurs fans, you know, around the world, different time zones. It's absolutely mad, the dedication people have for this football club. I couldn't imagine getting up at 3, 4, 5 a.m. watching a game and then having to go and do a full day's work and stuff like that. It's absolutely incredible. So fair play to you, Dark Sung G, and you're absolutely spot on in terms of outgoings. You know, that's one big area we've really made a big push in this season. And what we've done actually is we haven't created a backlog that's going to be there next summer. So next summer is just more going to be focused on players that we can bring in here to add to what we've already got, you know, and we've cleared a lot of them off the wage bill. We've reduced the wage bill as well, which is always good as well. So really good in terms of the club, in terms of outgoings, Dark Sung G, for sure. But Jack, maybe last question I'm going to throw, and then we will end off. And guys, we'll be back in half an hour's time for the watch along. Make sure you join us. We can't wait. We're absolutely pumped. And when we score, we go absolutely ballistic, just like as fans should. But Jack, Dominic Solanke, the debutant today, we're all excited to really see how he gets on. But how much of an impact can us Spurs fans really expect from him tonight? With no preseason games under his belt for Tottenham Hotspur and only arriving a week before the season starts.
Yeah, he hasn't been helped out by being signed so late, and he barely probably even remembers any of the names of the, you know, fellow teammates. You know, like he probably hasn't even met everyone personally in the squad or even at the club yet. But I'd hope that he has kind of a kickoff, sort of like what Van de Ven did, where Van de Ven sort of was thrown straight into the team, straight into the lineup, and hit the ground running. And I hope that Solanke can do something similar. I'd argue as a striker, that's actually harder to do sometimes because a striker does usually need that time to settle in. Oftentimes strikers do rely on confidence. They rely on that service as well. And I think that Solanke has been a bit hard done by. I really rate him though. And I think I have a really big soft spot for his game. And I think he suits this system and he suits this style of play. So I'd hope that it shouldn't be that, you know, foreign to Solanke, the way that we try to play, the type of service that we provide our striker. I think he should be able to accommodate for it and he should be able to settle in relatively quickly. It's just that with, you know, the lack of kind of, you know, preseason games and really the lack of training time, I do wonder if it will take him, you know, a little while, maybe a few games to start really scoring kind of at a, you know, a consistent rate. But you never know. Sometimes with you know, the striker like Solanke, he can just settle in maybe quicker than I might expect him to. And he could do what Van de Ven has done and just hit the ground running. So I think Solanke will have a good game today. I think he will provide something similar to what we were getting from Richarlison last season. And that's all I can hope for, because we were just really missing a striker last year, because anytime that Richie was out, Sonny had to be played through the middle and we weren't getting the best out of Sonny. The whole system kind of went a whack because then we were doing Timo Werner and Johnson on the wings. And I think with Solanke in this team, I think things are going to be a lot better now. So I do hope he hits the ground running though. I do hope so.
No, 100%. And look, hopefully there's, you know, he didn't go to the Euros on that, so he should be fit enough to start. And, you know, all we need is just him to be that, what he done at Bournemouth, you know, being around that box, be alert, be alive, be ready. You know, he's going to score goals. If he can do that today, even if he's not the 100% fit, he'll bag himself a couple of opportunities. It's just about taking them then, continuing on that confidence from last season. So, look, let's hope that happens tonight. We'll talk about more when we kick off the watch along, of course. But Dark Sung G says 2 more signings, and this squad will be scary. A left back and a left-sided centre back. Dark Sung G, I definitely agree with you. I would like both, to be brutally honest. But if they can pluck another Van de Ven out of somewhere, I'll take it. I would like to see us bring in that defensive-minded midfielder, that number 6. I know it's not a staple of Ange Postecoglou, but I just think where we're at with Tottenham and it's being a Premier League, I think if he's going to continue with this, you know, gung-ho tactics and doesn't want to make any tweaks, I think then he has to bring in a CDM. And I would like to see that option come in here, because against some of the bigger teams, it will really help us out. It's about having different options there, Dark Sung G. So definitely agree with that. And then he also says, once Wilson Ambis returns, who is on the bench is gone. Look, this is the great thing, Dark Sung G. It's all about creating competition for places in the squad. Presume there's a lot of work to do to get back in this now. I wouldn't be surprised if he doesn't make the bench next week or against Everton if he doesn't have a good week in training, to be brutally honest with you. I think Postecoglou might use him to make a statement. But if he does, you probably think maybe a Gray or a Bergvall. But the good thing is, even if one of them do drop out, at least they're there pushing these guys to be able to get in the team, which should keep them honest. And if they're not, they'll go. And we have guys waiting in the wings, which is absolutely huge. Richarlison could be one that potentially might drop out if Odegaard comes in and does well. Yeah. And Kulusevski could be thrusted into that second forward option, Dark Sung G. So they're the ones for me, my man. Big yourself up and really appreciate the support. And we're going to take this from Ellie, and then I'm going to run through the Leicester lineup, guys. And we are going to end so we can just get the watch along nice and ready and perfect for you guys. And we'll see you back here. Queen Ellie Højbjerg. You're going to have to change that now to Queen Ellie Bergvall. Now, Ellie, so you are. You're going to have to take Bergvall under your wing. She says, Højbjerg no more, Kane no more, but Ben & Jerry's is still around. Of course, Ben & Jerry's always lives on, Ellie. In the freezers of Ireland and in the USA, lads. Get down to the shops and bring me back Pierre from France too, at least, Lord. Look, we might be able to get a Pierre and Højbjerg flavor for you, you know, a Danish flavor for you, Ellie. You never know, but you're absolutely spot on. Although some of our favorite players are gone, Ben & Jerry still lives on and still puts a smile on our face. But Ellie, I know you must be absolutely pumped for tonight's game. Start of the Premier League season. This is what we all live for. You know, this is what we've, you know, moaned about all summer to get to. We're finally here. Let's sit back tonight, relax, watch it, enjoy it, and hopefully come out the other side with a win. Big up, Ellie, and great to see you in-house, but you're going to have to go Bergvall now. I think that's the one now, Ellie. Queen Ellie Bergvall, or, you know, is the one. It's he comes from the same area, Scandinavia, so I think we're in the right region with that one, Ellie. And then, guys, last but not least, we are on to the Leicester lineup. Hermansen in goal. We have Justin at right back, Vestergaard and Valfest at centre-back. Christensen, I think he scored that screamer at the Euros. He's left back. Winks, smash him. Bonante and Diddy. And then you've got Decker, Reed, Fatawa. Oh, James Vardy did make it back.
Yeah,
Steve
big
Cooper.
Surprise.
Yeah, Steve Cooper trying to play some mind games. So hopefully we bag another goal just for that alone. So that is the Leicester team we are up against tonight. I do question how fit is Vardy. But guys, if any of you watched the Leicester preview, the guy said to watch out for Fatawa tonight. A guy of real danger. Jack, that's it from us. Anything you want to say before we come back with the watch along?
No, Dave, excellent work from yourself, especially since I did arrive a bit late. I do apologize, everybody. I'm just kind of on the road at the moment, and we're setting up a new watch along look. Thanks to Nick Lazy8, who will be joining us for the watch along later in about 30 minutes time. And so, just everybody, if you can, thank Dave for his immense work for holding it all together while I was a little bit tardy for this pre-match buildup. And I look forward to many more pre-match buildups throughout this season with you guys. The roller coaster begins with Tottenham Hotspur. And let's grab 3 points today. Just need simple 3 points. It doesn't need to be a 4-0. It doesn't need to be a 5-0 like some people have predicted. I'd settle for anything with 3 points. It's about starting off right, getting that confidence from a win. And I look forward to having a fun watch along with you guys with hopefully plenty of highlights from it. And yeah, everybody, let's hope for a good performance today, a strong one, in fact. And thank you so much to everybody that supported us today, everybody that sent in their member milestones, who's helped us out with super chats, and also just in general, everybody that's joined us along this journey. If they joined us from the very beginning to towards the very end here, hitting 15,000 is just ridiculous. It is definitely a number that I know Dave and I could never count to. And we're just really appreciative to everybody that has supported this channel in so many different ways. So you guys all rock, and you guys are all tremendous, and looking forward to another fun season with you guys.
Oh, cannot wait. And Ellie's gone with the spud on this one. Really appreciate that, Ellie. Let's knuckle touch on that one. But guys, it's been an absolute great build up to this game. Hopefully Spurs can follow through with this performance. We'll see you back here at 7:30, half an hour before the game kicks off. Hopefully many of you can join us back. It is known now. People watch the game and have their favorite YouTubers on as commentary. So feel free to do that. Plus, we're Spurs biased, and I think all you want, to hear Spurs biased commentary when we're watching the games. But I do want to thank every single one of you for tuning in. The numbers are absolutely insane. You guys are behind us full throttle, and it does not go unnoticed. So big up
from Ellie.
Yeah, the fist punch. Absolutely love that. So thank you guys for every single one of you tuning in, partaking, getting your comments in and stuff like that. And then thank you to everyone else who's gone the extra mile. Iceman, Liam, Rick and Brighton, Chris, Faz Radfar, Hollywood Hotspur, Shem Tam, El Dante, Shawnee Maddox, 2J, MV Joker Davies, K, Dark Song G, Ellie as well. Absolutely really appreciate it, guys. Really do. And then artists, don't mind the new intro, but you've got to keep Jack Sir. It's a classic. Well, artists, we'll go back to Nick and we'll tell him that, you know, he needs to add in that Sir right at the end. It's an absolute must. I think it actually goes within it. You know, I think that clip is from when Romero got sent off against Chelsea, I believe.
Yeah.
So the Sir, you know, goes within that intro for sure. So we'll make sure we get that added back in. And to be honest with you, we should have clips from both of us in it. So you're absolutely
I think I do have both videos available for artists just in case. So maybe we do play both intros. But I enjoy that Nick has given us one with Dave. I think it was needed. I'm surprised you guys have not gotten sick of the Sirs at this point. So I'm appreciative that anybody still looks forward to them. And also, if you guys are taking bets, maybe you should take a bet on what minute the first Sir will happen, because the first Sir of the regular season is going to probably happen during this watch along, because we're back with the Premier League refs who definitely do definitely bring out the Sirs, let's say, because I do get quite frustrated with them. Big up though, artist, and I'm very appreciative and very humbled by that. Thank you.
Be 30 seconds into the game because Chris Coffin is referee tonight with David Coote and VAR. It will not take long, trust me. But guys, we're out. We'll see you back here in half an hour's time. Go and get a sandwich. Go and get your drinks at the ready. We'll see you back here at 7:30. Come on, you Spurs.
Come on, you Spurs.
In the Mighty Hands we trust. We never stop. Let's bloody go.
Come on, everybody. See you later.